Okay. Good afternoon, good evening to some of you who are joining us in lands unknown for our third encore performance. I am so excited to be here. I know that you're excited too. I just couldn't believe the overwhelming amount of love that our community and our global community have shown us. And that's why we're back by popular demand, because you have demanded in this encore performance. Welcome to everyone and welcome back to our esteemed special guest, Read-InFluencers, yay, and our mighty young techs. Viewers, don't forget to follow, like us, love us, join, subscribe, and share the social media accounts of our Mighty Young Techs and our Read-InFluencers, so you're the first to know about any upcoming events that we don't want you to miss, and how you can continue to support our passions and our initiatives. One thing that brings people of all cultures together is a great story and a great storyteller. Did you know that in West Africa, there are master storytellers and they're called griots? And they're more than just a storyteller. They held history between their lips, preserving ancient stories and traditions. Just give me 1 second.
I got the height.
I'm so sorry about that. My camera went dead, and that happens in technology, so we'll have to excuse me. But I'm just going to repeat what I wanted to say to you and to everyone here, that one thing that brings people of all cultures together is a great story and a great storyteller. And in West Africa, there are master storytellers, and they're called griots, but they were more than just a storyteller. They held history between their lips, preserving all those ancient stories and traditions. And they were actually historians. So they kept repeating those stories over and over again, but they were very well versed. And when they spoke, my goodness, their melodic storytelling is just reminiscent of a praise singer, a gospel song, a poet, and a musician, because of the way that they spoke. And they just got all the attention of all their listeners. And the griot was a repository of oral tradition and history. And they were often seen as a leader, as advisors, due to that position, because they held in their heads and coming through their mouths history. And so the royal persons would always have them by their side. And today, guess what we have? We have presently our modernized version of a griot, the Read-InFluencer. And I hope that we continue to influence, because now we have history and stories from all around the world at our fingertips. And now we'll have it on our minds, and now we'll bring it forth through our lips so that we can continue a tradition that is in other countries right here in our very own living room. And we hope that you can share it with everyone in your family and with your friends and your neighbors too. And what about people you've never met? Sometimes you're just sitting there by the bus stop and you just start talking. You say, you could just tell a little short story, and you're just spreading literacy no matter what. And that's what we want to do, spread literacy and spread our Read-InFluencers and spread their influence as well. So, so if today is your first time joining us, welcome again to our first virtual and largest Read-InFluencers Encore event. thank you for all the love and support you have given us in creating this historical event. So again, we have our special guest Read-InFluencer, Danny Rodriguez. How are you today? I was so glad that you were able to make it. I know he was rushing hard. He's working to keep everyone safe. He's working to get those right candidates out there in our communities. And I tell you, that is a tremendous responsibility. So thank you again, Danny, for being here with us and spreading your influence, that positivity, that spirit that we just love to have. And for the past 2 days, we've been riding on Cafe Bustelo, but we also been riding on the smiles and love that everyone is giving and sharing in this moment.
And some eggs from Target.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah.
So I can only say the book that Mr. Rodriguez is going to be reading, but we want to know some more about you for those who weren't here those 2 days. So, Mr. Rodriguez, how did you get started in law enforcement?
Well, I first started, I went to college for accounting, and unfortunately, I studied, I did the right thing. I got good grades, but nobody would hire me. Uh, I, as I mentioned yesterday, I even got turned down by McDonald's, which is unbelievable.
McDonald's.
But, in life, whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So I didn't allow it to discourage me. And the funny thing is that my career path kind of like selected me. I didn't really select that career path because I always believed that I wanted to be a contribution towards the solution. And if you're not part of the solution, then you are part of the problem. It's equivalent to like having somebody dying in front of you and you not doing anything. Legally, you're probably not guilty for killing someone, but morally, if you just stand there and don't do anything, there's something wrong,
Yes.
So I studied, I got good grades. I was able to go through the police academy. As a baby cop, I always wanted to do more than just being a regular cop. And a regular cop is an awesome thing. Those are the people that go out there and they try to be part of the community that they serve.
Right.
We want to be the guys that you come to when you can't handle something yourself. We take an oath to protect those that can't protect themselves, basically. And one thing that I don't really approve of, that I don't really like, is when parents tell their kids, hey, you better behave because the police officer is going to arrest you. No, that's not that's not the right idea. I don't arrest the whole world. I just arrest people that do really bad stuff. If you need help, you're supposed to find a police officer so they can help you, so they could help get you back to your parents. And I've done that for children. I've done that for adults that have special needs. People with like Down syndrome or autism, and even dementia.
Wow.
So that's one of the reasons why I really enjoy this profession. I think it's more of a calling because nobody really wants to be targeted or shot at or have people pissed off at you. And that's something that I believe anyone that is looking to go into this field should be willing to accept, that some people are not going to like you just because of a negative experience that they may have had with someone else.
Right.
But that's a form of prejudice as well, where some people might judge you because of the clothes that you wear. I have to wear a certain uniform when I'm working on patrol, but that does not mean that I'm the same person that might have disrespected you before. I might actually be the one to defend you when somebody disrespects you, you know?
So it seems like law enforcement, some people who are in that profession, that they get a bad rap. Just like they say lawyers are dishonest. And we just have these stereotypes. It's a stereotype, and we lump everybody in the same uh, mold, and we don't really actually give everybody a chance, and that does resonate to people of color. We see a Hispanic person, we see a Black person, we automatically start judging based on some prior encounter with them. And we really need to just pause and get to know one another and just be friendly. We don't have to be friends, but we can be friendly. We use the adverb, be friendly and kind to each other. So with all these experiences, and coupled with the last 2 days of what you have told our audiences and our young adults and those who are adults as well, what advice would you give your younger self?
Well, one advice that I did follow from my mom, and not by choice, was staying away from goofy people. As I goofy people,
You didn't almost say it.
goofy people will get you in trouble, you know? So I kind of like stayed with that one rule throughout the whole time, and you'll be okay.
Yes, because too many goofy people make a goof troop.
Yes, yes.
Yes, it does.
Birds of a feather flock together.
That's true. So, yesterday we were talking about, and even before, about what do you do to keep your energy and positive attitude? And we would love for you to repeat it again, because we're ready to say it.
Yes, say it again.
We're going to say it all together. What does he like? The cafe?
Extra target.
Bustelo. He has that first thing in the morning. See, we remember, we were listening.
I see.
And I bet the people in the audience who are listening to, who were with us the last 2 days, are shouting it out too.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the start of my day.
That's the start of your day. And I think eggs from
Egg
Target.
white. Egg white.
Egg whites from Target.
Yes.
Absolutely. So once you get your nourishment, your nutrients, then what else energizes you?
Throughout the day, it's mostly like the passion of what I do.
Yes.
Sometimes I actually forget to eat.
Oh,
That's
I know that.
That's bad. But the motivation, the drive of what you're focused on, so I guess your heart, where your heart goes, you'll follow it,
That's beautiful. Yes.
As far as nutrients, I drink a lot of water after some bustelo.
Are you drinking essential water?
I drink about a gallon of water a day.
Okay, make sure you drink essential because it's pH balance. And we can get into that whole talk about, we'll have a whole natural eating session and invite people. But that's the water I drink, and it's a long thing about the acidity of the water and how we have to keep our body balanced. And that might be open to speculation and opinion, but that's what I do a lot of studying on. But so Danny, tell us, what is one of your favorite experience in your career so far? Now you were 18 years, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So some of the best experiences is when I'm able to help people, whether it's like helping a kid find their parent because they're scared,
Yes.
And I help them feel comfortable and, help them relax and give them a sense of comfort that I'm going to find your parents no matter what.
Wow.
Somewhere or the other, I'm going to get you back together, I've helped save some people, either from a burning vehicle or CPR,
Oh,
so the best part of this career path is the self satisfaction that you get out of it when you help someone.
yeah,
The paycheck is a paycheck, but if you do something for a paycheck, you're going to be miserable. When you do something that you love, you'll be willing to do it for free.
that's true. That's true.
And
I totally agree with that. So you have found your passion, I can tell you. And so, in any of those experiences you've had, which one do you feel the most challenged by? What was the most challenging situation you had to encounter? I know there's probably many, but if you could just pinpoint one that you just say, you know, that's on my mind, how it's challenging, and how did it make you grow as well?
the most challenging one was when I was first starting off in my career path. I have certain weaknesses, which is children and old people, because they really, really can't defend themselves very much.
Mm,
And I responded to a motor vehicle accident on the highway. And as I approached it, it was a minivan.
right.
And when I approached it, I noticed that there were children inside and there was nobody alive there.
Oh,
So uh, it's an emotional situation because you have to maintain your professionalism
right,
and you still have certain things that you have to do for the safety of the general public. You don't want somebody to like crash behind the vehicle.
right.
You know, you don't want to mess anything up. And being a new officer, I was kind of like learning as I went. So fortunately, someone above likes me, and they were able to hook me up with some good people around me. That whenever there was the most immediate opportunity, someone gave me a break, and I went to the nearest bathroom, which was at a gas station,
Right.
and I unleashed all of my emotions. You know, I think there might have been even a booger bubble involved.
Like you said
Yeah.
last time, a butter bubble.
Oh, believe me, there was probably more than one booger bubble. Yeah. So then I was crying like Niagara Falls, and then I freshened up, washed the face. I think anybody that might have gone into the bathroom and, seen a cop crying, they probably thought there was something really wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So then after I washed up and, took a little breather, I went back and continued what I needed to do. Because at the end of the day, we're all responsible for making sure that traffic and nobody else got involved in any accidents because of the previous accident, and that nobody else got hurt.
Yeah.
But that was the most, I guess, because it was the very first one. It was the one that impacted me the most. But that was the hard one.
Wow. And sometimes we forget that individuals who are in the business of saving lives, law enforcement, firefighters, that they are human too, and they have these feelings and becoming overwhelmed, but they still have to do their job. And the other profession also is the medical field. When people come in and they have to take care of them, and sometimes the situation is very, very um, heartbreaking to say the least, but they know that they have to do the very best that they can. And I give kudos to you. I don't think that I could be in that profession. I can take care of a bloody nose that a kid gets, a little scraped knee. I can't go further than that. I think I would just be traumatized. So thank you so much for um, having this as your career path, and also just staying dedicated and passionate about your work. So what advice would you give someone who wants to get into law enforcement?
Well, that first rule is really good. Stay away from goofy people.
Yay!
You got to get good grades. You have to have a certain amount of college credits, or you could have 2 years of full-time military service.
Right.
And sometimes if you want to be slick, you go into the military, get the 2 years of military, but while you're doing your military, you also get them to pay for your education.
Right.
So,
Right.
like for some of the people that come from where I come from, not everybody could afford to be able to go to college. So a slick way to do it is to get the government to pay for it by joining the military. So where there's a will, there's a way.
Yeah. Does that make you move up a rank when you're in the military? Like, do you come out, or you still start from the bottom? If you obtain a rank in the military, will that propel you to become a lieutenant, sergeant, or?
Well, if you go in with a college degree, you could apply for an officer's position.
Okay.
But if you go in with a high school degree, you start enlisted.
Okay.
But then how that transitions into the civilian world is that you're coming in with certain experience.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So sometimes you might be able to buy back military service for the time that you spend in there.
Okay.
And also, like, specifically, if you're going into like law enforcement, if you're going to, let's say, for example, apply for emergency service, which are like what I refer to as the Superman for the cops. Because when a cop can't handle the situation, those are the guys that come in to make sure everything is okay.
Okay.
If you have like the military background, they teach you how to do certain things that, are advantageous for that. They kind of like geared you towards that route.
Excellent. Excellent. That's interesting to know. So if you wanted to become a detective, you would still have to go through the process of being an officer first, and then you would have to take further exams to become a detective, or is that another path that deviates from that?
No, I believe everyone starts off as a regular police officer,
Okay.
and then based on your work ethic, your performance, and all that stuff, they appoint you to that position.
Okay.
And then for other positions such as a sergeant, like the individual that you met before, my Sergeant Grigsby, and lieutenants and so forth, you take exams.
Okay. Excellent. Thank you for giving us that information. So, where do you think, um, not necessarily yourself, but law enforcement, how do you see law enforcement in the next 5 years? Based on what you've known from the past, what's happening now, what do you see it projected as in the next 5 years?
I think it's everything evolves. Everything is evolving. Technology evolves. Police work has to evolve because crime evolves.
Oh,
You know,
true.
so a long time ago when I was growing up, nobody knew about credit card fraud. You know,
I know.
there were no credit.
We didn't know about credit.
Yeah,
That's why so many people who received their first credit card went into debt so quickly, because they said, hey, they thought it was free money and didn't really understand the monetary part of it, and that, hey, what you mean I have to pay this back? I didn't know that. So you
yeah,
live and learn. So we our children are learning from our mistakes, and it's easy because we didn't know. We didn't know what was going on. We didn't know about credit scores and all
yeah.
those other things that they're saying now. We barely knew about saving. It's just a different type of lifestyle, living city, country, and living in different parts of New York and upstate and so on. It's just a different lifestyle altogether. Most people in New York City didn't own a car. You just naturally took the bus or the subway. If you own a car, you were immediately considered rich, because why did you need a car? The taxi was just fine. Thank you, Danny, for sharing that with us. I can tell you that It's a very hard job. It must be a very hard job, but you're right. It makes it easier if that's what you feel in your heart. So it makes it easier for you because it's something you want to do. And if you're there for a paycheck, it just, it's going to make your life very dreary. So here we have a book that resonates with what you're saying, that I am every good thing, written by Dennis Barnes. And we are the perfect person to express this book to our youth out there, and I hope that they will agree. Let me get that up for you.
I want to thank Lavender for her assistance yesterday.
Yeah.
She is here again to be with you again.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm your assistant. I am your assistant.
So
Ready?
Yeah.
All right. I am a non-stop ball of energy, powerful and full of light. I am a go-getter, a difference maker, a leader. I am every good thing that makes the world go round.
I don't see the book.
Oh, I'll do it again. I am everything that makes the world go round. You know, like gravity, or the glow of moonbeams over the field of brand new snow. I am good to the core, like the center of a cinnamon roll. Yeah, that good. I am skateboard tricks, scrape knees and elbows. But you know what? I am right back on my feet again. I am one eye open, one eye closed, peeking through a microscope, gazing through a telescope, checking out the spaces around me, and plotting out those far off places I have yet to go, but will. I am a gentleman and a scholar. I am kind and polite, like yes, ma'am, yes, sir. Helping my grandmother across the street and saying, bless you, when a stranger has to sneeze. I am a cool breeze, a perfect paper airplane that glides for blocks, for miles, forever. I am a roaring flame of creativity. I am a lightning round of questions and a star-filled sky of solutions. I'm an explorer, planting a flag on every square foot of this planet where I belong. I am a sponge, soaking up information, knowledge, and wisdom. I want it all, and I am all ears. I got big ears.
Ears.
I am Saturday mornings in the summertime. I am two bounces and a flip-flop, front flip off the diving board. I am hilarious. I am the life of the party. I am that smile forming on your face right now. I am the boom bap, boom boom bap, when the bass line thumps and the kick thump jumps, and the perfect beat, the perfect run, keeping everything on point, always on time. But you already knew that. I'm a grand slam, bases fully loaded, I'm a nasty two-handed dunk holding on to the rim. Just to remind you that I'm still the man. Believe that. I am the undisputed champion. I am a highlight reel of magnificence. I am the celebration, the applause, and the standing ovation. I am victory. I am a brother, a son, a nephew, a favorite cousin, a grandson. I am a friend. I am real. I am tight hugs, a hand to hold, a shoulder to cry on, if you have to. I hope you never have to, but I'm here. Although I'm something like a superhero, every now and then I'm afraid. I am not what they might call me, and I will not answer to any name that is not my own. I am what I say I am. I am that sound in the forest when the mighty tree falls. I am waves crashing gently on the shore. I am a force of nature, a miracle, a blessing. I am brave. I am hope. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. I am worthy of success, of respect, of safety, of kindness and happiness. And without a shadow of a doubt, I am worthy to be loved. I am worthy to be loved. My favorite book.
Wow, that's all I can say. I mean, just those words there, I am worthy to be loved, and that you are every good thing. That affirmation, do you hear that affirmation? That self affirmation means I am. And when you wake up in the morning, you should do a self affirmation. I am strong. I am beautiful. I am wonderful. I am heavenly.
Every good thing.
And I am every good thing. Everybody can say that. Those in the audience, all our youth and adults too. Say that now. I am every
Every
good
good
thing.
thing.
You have to believe that. Say it again, guys. All the mighty on text. I
I
am
am
Every
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 good
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 thing.
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 You have to believe that.
That's right. You have to believe that. And that will set your morning strong because guess what? There are going to be some unkind people out there that are going to continue to do and say unkind things. And that's why you really can't escape it. You can't escape it. So you have to just continue. You have to sometimes provide yourself the positivity. And like I asked Mr. Rodriguez, what gets you started? What makes you be energized and positive? And he starts us off his morning with nutrition. And then he has to tell himself, okay, I'm going out. I don't know what today is going to bring, but guess what? I'm going to do my best. And I'm going to make sure I leave it positive and better than the way I found it, if you can. That's the best that you can do because there's always going to be someone who's just going to be sad and unhappy and unkind and just plain miserable. And they could be angry at you. And like he said, could be something from what happened before. It could be 1 month ago, 2 months ago, it could be a year ago. And they just remember it, and you're the first person that they meet and they say, I'm going to take it out on you because guess what? You're smiling. but you want to spread that smile. Smiling is contagious. If you have a wonderful smile, I think it is very contagious. And what do I say to the money on text all the time? To do what? At least
Smile every
Laugh.
day.
laugh. That's right. Laugh at once a day. I tell jokes all the time, whether they're corny or not, doesn't matter. You just get someone to laugh
Sometimes
and
if
you're
they're
just going to feel
corny,
better
they're
about
funny.
yourself. Absolutely. We're going to take a 1 minute break and we're going to come back and one of our Mighty
There's
Young
no
Techs is
timer.
going to be reading. Don't forget your mics and your camera are still live even with this little break. Okay, we are back from our short break. If you are just joining us, thank you and welcome back, everyone, to our first virtual, historical, and encore performance of our Read-InFluencers event. I can't thank you for showing us so much love out there in our virtual world and supporting our initiatives. and bringing everyone together for spreading literacy and spreading our Read-InFluencers influence in your lives. We want to welcome back our esteemed special guest Read-InFluencer, Danny Rodriguez. And he just finished reading a very wonderful story, and I am good enough and I am strong enough. I mean, the I ams can go on forever, but it's a self-affirmation to make you feel self-worth and strong, because that's the message that that story is telling us, that you are worthy of being loved and worthy of receiving love. Because when you receive love, guess what? You can give love. And if you're taught how to love, you'll love even better. And those words are lifting you up just like a gospel hymn lifts you up your spirits, because it speaks the truth to our Black sons who will grow to become Black men. So if you are strong, if you're teaching that to your youth, then this is what they're going to grow up to be: supportive men, whether they are Black, brown, or indifferent. That's what I like to say. So it emphasizes all these small words, just simple things that you notice in the book. It was just simple things that they were happy about. Just being in the forest, just swimming, just on Saturday, things you don't even think about, how wonderful that they have an impact on your life and how strong you will be at the end. And at the end, you just know smiles and the way someone looks at you, and your interactions with your friends and the people that you meet in your neighborhood, how strong it is, and then the impact it has in your life, the positivity you have, because you want to make sure that you have that. Now, so did you recognize in the book there were some people in the background? I saw President Obama. I think I saw
Yeah, I saw
President
President
that
Obama.
too. Whoa, very good, very observant. Are you a future detective?
No, I want to
No.
be a doctor.
She said no. She's gonna. I know that one of our Mighty on Tech Sparkle wants to be a scientist, or in that field. And I said it's very broad. The science field is very broad. But guess what's going to start you on that journey? Literacy and reading books. You know, just being a ferocious reader and just reading different things. So you never know. By the time you may change your mind and your path may change and you may become interested. And there might be new careers in another 10 years. Things are growing so much and vast and wide. So that book there has just made it just affirmation for Black boys and Black girls everywhere. Those same affirmations you can use, and no matter where you're at, because remember, you matter and you belong, and you are always worthy of love. Yes, you are every good thing. Absolutely, absolutely. Um, welcome our our special guest influencer, Kecia Deroly. How are you? Lovely.
Hi.
We just finished reading a short book by Read Influencer. I'm having an echo. Is that reason why?
Oh, actually, you know what? I don't have my headphones in, so
Okay.
I'm gonna change that. So I'm
All right.
being
Thank you. So we have a special guest, Read Influencer, who just read the book that I Am Every Good Thing, and we were talking about self-affirmations for our Black youth and our not just boys but also girls, because this is something that you can empower yourself with every morning, regardless if you are drinking chocolate milk or cafe bustelo to start your day. You want to make sure you include
Eggs from
something
Target.
nutritious. Or what? Or eggs from Target. You guys are awesome. And just having that in your body, and so that your mind can think. We don't want to flood it with all these sugary things that we seem to gravitate towards. But here, before we get to our next special guest reading for us, we're going to have Lavender read her
Yay.
book of Pepe and the Parade. So I'm just
Yeah.
going to not show my face again and let you get started reading that book.
Pepe and the Parade, a celebration of Hispanic heritage by Josie Kyle, illustrated by Marie Ortega. Pepe wakes up early. There's a festival today. He's going to the city with his family. Hola. Amigos and familia will attend a celebration honoring Hispanic people all across the nation. Pepe cannot wait to see his friend and eat paletas and hear the mariachis play guitarras and trompetas. Mommy makes a special breakfast filled with love and care. The smell of chilaquiles and frijoles warm the air. Abuela talks of heritage, traditions, and países, and says it's a festival to showcase their races. Today is special, Pepe, for the pride and history of millions of Hispanics who are living by your side. Pepe makes some little files and wants to color more, but Mommy interrupts him. Let's get ready, por favor. Pepe loves his jersey, made of red and colores. Mommy is enchanting in her falda lined with flores. Abuela has a thing for hats and wears a white sombrero. Papi looks so dashing. Mommy cries, mi caballero. The city pans with energy and Pepe feels the pride, remembering above words Hispanic by our side. Pepe spots some friends from school who are Hispanic too. Anna from Ecuador and Lalo's from Peru. Dylan is Dominican and there's Panameño. Carla is Colombian, Thomas is Hondureño. Juan is Nicaraguan, Teresita is Chilena, Sara is both Puerto Rican and Salvadoreño. Max is Guatemalan, Santiago is Cubano. Pepe wants to join his friends and thinks soy Mexicano. Abuelo waves him over. It's our turn to walk now. Vámonos. Pepe hugs his papi, saying, Todos celebramos. Abuelo shakes maracas. People love the clack-clack sound. Pepe holds his little flags and waves them all around. Mambo, salsa, rock, bachata, cumbia, reggaeton. Pepe hears the mariachi start a canción. The rhythm of the Latin music floats on down the street. Pepe and his friends are dancing, bouncing to the beat. Pepe gets his friend to taste carnitas and gorditas, the creamy guacamole and the side of papas fritas. Abuela, take a picture. Pepe jumps into a pile of laughing, happy, noisy kids. Abuela chuckles, smile. That night when Pepe heads to bed, he feels very proud. He knows the day was special. He can sense it in the crowd. He falls asleep so grateful for the fun he had today, and knows the next year's festival is just 12 months away.
That was wonderfully read. I could not have done it better myself. Great, great job. Wonderful. So, what did you guys get from this story? I just heard so many cultures, all Hispanic cultures, just coming together there. Nicaraguan, Colombian.
Ecuador,
Say what?
Peru,
Peru.
Dominican, Panameño, Hondureño, Nicaragua. I forgot Teresitas. Oh, Chilena, Salvadoreña, Puerto Rican, and I forgot the rest.
I think you passed your test. You named all of them. Excellent. You guys are awesome. So the Mighty on Text is right on top of it. But we got to understand now there should be a celebration. I don't know if there's a parade that exists. I think we usually have the Puerto Rican one. We have another one, different Hispanic cultures having separate parades, but I don't think I've ever seen one. Even in New York City, I don't think I've ever seen one that all of them came together. Am I correct in saying that, Mr. Rodriguez? I'm not sure.
Not sure either.
No, I've not. I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah, I think they have individual ones because
Yeah,
I've been to like the Dominican one, Mexican one, but not one that is like all inclusive.
right. And see, what is this book trying to say? That we need to all come together. You know, we
It's
need
one
to
big
share.
family.
Yeah. And how do we just do that? By reading,
A
because
book.
that's where we're sharing. We're spreading our literacy, we're spreading our influence, and you do it the best way by being a read influencer. I can't express that more, the literacy and what literacy means. It's more than just reading and writing, because we know if we're reading, it leads to writing, and it leads to understanding and comprehending. And also, guess what? Communicating to others, because we will increase our vocabulary words, absolutely, so that we can talk. And then if we learn different languages, that just makes it even much grander, because now we'll be able to speak their language and we'll understand each other better and better for that. So thank you, Lavender, for reading that story about Pepe and the parade. Yes, we could give her a nice little clap there. I just love it. We want to make her feel good, and because she is every good thing, isn't that
I
correct?
am.
And she is strong. I am. That's right. Every day we want to say that to our audience and those. So if you are just joining us at this time, welcome back, and thank you for giving us so much love and for the past 2 days. And then we're back by popular demand because you wanted it, this encore performance. Don't forget to follow, like, and join, subscribe, love us, and share the social media accounts of our Mighty on Text and our Read influencers, so you're the first to know of any upcoming events and how you can continue to support our passions and our initiatives. So don't forget to do that today. Make sure you subscribe, because we know that one thing that brings people of all cultures together is a great story and a great storyteller. And as I said before, we are the modernized griots of our time. And this modern version is called Read Influencers, because we want to influence everyone with our positive message that we can find between the pages of a book. We want to spread literacy. We want to spread your influence. That positivity goes. We want to feel that energy just come through and overwhelm everyone that's sitting there at home listening to us talk. Now, before I bring on our next special guest Read Influencers, I want to let the audience know that the next uh, words we're going to hear is coming from a book. Now, I chose not to show the words up because I'm going to let our guest Read Influencer express the words on this page. And this book here um, is a very special book, and I did not want to omit it from our readings, because I think in the world we're living in, we need to be aware. And I know some of us take time to become aware, and we wait till surprise happens upon us, when it should be part of our discussion every day. Part of my Mighty on Text is I give them information to help them be strong and to be aware. What do I tell you about strangers, guys? I said, who's a
You're in
stranger?
danger.
That's right. But who's a stranger?
Everybody.
Everybody. That's right. Everybody. Because what do I say about strangers? You don't go with them unless you have your parents' permission. So, you know Mr. Rodriguez, right?
There is no unless.
Right. Are you going to go with Mr. Rodriguez? Says, come on, come on over to my house. Let's go for ice cream. Are you going to go?
No.
No. And that's one thing I told, because it's not the creepy guy with the raincoat. It's not the model. It's not even Beyonce. You don't go with any of them without your parents' permission. So everyone needs to know that about strangers, because everyone's a stranger. Unless your parents say you may go with them. So, and we've met many people over time, mayors, other people from law enforcement, Dutchess County exec, they're all strangers. There's people that you meet every day, but you don't go off with them without your parents' permission. So I think our special guest Read-InFluencer, Kecia Deroly, is reading an excerpt from a very explosive book, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And this book does contain mature adult themes and subject matter, which some listeners, like I say, may find uncomfortable or inappropriate for their younger ears. But if you do decide to stay, please use this as an opportunity for discussion and open dialogue amongst your family members and friends. I believe that being armed with accurate information can help dilute the confusion, the misinterpretations, and other malign depiction of minorities in society. And it also gives us a little bit of insight into what is happening in someone else's lives who may not look like us, but very well may live next door to us. And so that helps us by understanding where they're at and where they're maybe going, will help us to appreciate and also be a friend and reach out to them and help them any way that we can. So here we have Miss Kecia, I'm sorry, Deroly, a theater veteran and a world-traveled concert performer who studied music history at Dutchess Community College. And as a performer, some of her major roles include The Yoke, A Christmas Carol, Fiddler on the Roof, A Chorus Line, A Christmas Story, State Fair, Ada, Dreamgirls, Cinderella, and The Lion King on Broadway. Oh my goodness.
Broadway.
She's just awesome. I'm already, I want to get in line to audition for her. So has performed 2 concert series at Carnegie Hall under the direction of the esteemed Tony Regina. She's performed with several bands all over the world since the age of 14, lending her voice to several of New York City's iconic performance stages: the Iguana Lounge, Don't Tell Mama Cabaret, Del Somino, Lee Bergman Theater, Toshi's Living Room, and Herbal Lights Out on Broadway, just to name a few. Kecia is known for her many solo concert performances, Broadway past and present, and that was a one-woman tribute to Broadway. Make Them Laugh, Make Them Cry, Bring Them Hope, a tribute to female performers who have paved the way for other female artists, and performed at Altos del Chavon Amphitheater in the Dominican Republic. And after finishing her 3-year contract as a soloist and show band performer, traveling the world on several Carnival cruise ships, Kecia moved from New York City to Michigan in 2017. She left on that ship, didn't she? And became a director with the Children's Musical Workshop, directing Cinderella, 101 Dalmatians, and an original piece, Seamless Broadway, at the Hanson Theater at Lake Michigan College. She worked at the Southwest Michigan Symphony Orchestra as an executive assistant and performed as Aretha Franklin. You know that song. Anthony Mo's annual Respect, RESPECT concert. Kecia currently lends her voice for voiceovers. I know some of my Money and Text ones to do that. And recording artists, as well as teaches vocal technique. Just make sure and stage performance to virtual students, guys. So if you're listening, look her up. Kecia currently serves as a member of the board of directors at the GhostLight Theater. And her quote is, "Determined to live life with flair and laughter," by Maya Angelou. And one of my Money and Text just finished doing a report on her. That is Sparkle, who just finished doing a report on Maya Angelou. I tell you, Kecia, I don't know. This is a hard act to follow. Literally, I feel like
I didn't know it sounded so good. I'm just out here living my best life. I didn't know it sounded so good.
I tell you, I'm going to make everyone sound just as wonderful as they are, because you are. I am, remember. So
Mhm.
I mean, just hearing that, the Lion King, that's fabulous. I did not go see that on stage. I wanted to. I was taking my money on text. Actually, I was surprising them, but then that's when the COVID hit, because I had contacted them. They were trying to give us a few free tickets, just a few, not a lot.
Mhm.
They're very cheap, Disney. I don't know, but if you heard me today, send those tickets right away. That's a rhyme for all of you. So tell us, Kecia, what made you decide to pursue a career in entertainment?
I don't think I actually had a choice in it, to be honest with you. My mother realized that entertainment was going to be my thing when I was roughly about 3 years old. So I can speak to it, of the end of when I realized that this is what I have to do. But I didn't know that this was going to be, a part of my life and an investment that I would be just interested in. To be honest with you, it really was just my parents saw something, and then they put me in scheduling program, dance rehearsals, lessons, speech patterns, and I'm happy to do that. And granted, I when they did that, I had no context of what I was interested in. You're too young to know. But when I was on a stage and I was able to, someone was just like, do whatever you want. You know, here, I'm going to give you these lines. You read these lines, do whatever you want. That freedom and that ability to, just speak to whatever I wanted to do, I think that is how I decided. It just felt cool. It just felt really awesome. Just nobody's telling me that this is wrong. I could just like do whatever. Just yeah, do whatever you want to do. It's your stage, it's your platform. And it's a brilliant freedom that I'm so proud that my parents gave me,
That's
because I
wonderful
yeah,
that
yeah.
your parents supported you with that endeavor. Sometimes our, parents, and I'm a parent, we want our children to do something that we may have dreamt of that we did not actually fulfill. And so we want them to be mini us, mini me's, to follow in those footsteps. But it's wonderful when they embrace it and say, you know what? Let her be who she's going to be. Let him be who he's going to be. And let me just support them. And I think that's very important that adults that we and parents that we support our children no matter what they're going to do. I always say, as long as it's not going to make me cry or is illegal. That's what I say. You make me happy, it doesn't matter. But as long as it doesn't make me cry, bring me heartache, and it's illegal, I have no problem with it.
Well, it wasn't illegal, but I promise you, it did cause me heartache and it did make me cry. The work ethic, it's just, you
Oh
have
yeah,
to want it. You have to love it. You
that's
have to,
true.
and the experience is not just that your parents want you to be involved in it. You have to want it as well,
It's
and you have to
true.
love it. And nothing easy and attainable
Yeah,
is truly easy.
absolutely. We're going
You
to
have
get scars
to.
along the way. So,
Yes.
what skills have you learned that you use in everyday life?
There are several skills that I've figured out in everyday life. One of them is, the talent that you have that's yours. Nobody can take your talent away from you. It is specifically yours. It's what you invest your time and energy in, and all that time that you spend time in, it could be whatever it is: drawing, dancing, braiding hair, whatever that you spend a majority of your time, it's an investment. And what I learned is, whatever I put my time and value my time, that actually works for me in the long run. If I am knowledgeable about what I'm doing and how I do it, and I'm spending the majority of my time educating myself on something that I think is awesome. It could be whatever. It could be dyeing my hair. If I think that my time is valuable and spent doing something that I love well, then it's an investment that will always be valuable and people will pay for it. And that's how I utilize my skill. And I utilize that when I realize that it works the same as a singer. People value the time that I spent studying and being in rehearsals and going to school and um, educating on the dynamics of my voice and what the stage looks like and how to communicate artistry. That is valuable. And the hours that we spent on the things that we love actually are valuable things. That's what I learned.
That's some invaluable information you just gave us and advice that you just use your skills as you see fit and as they come along when it fits the situation. I love that. So this is something that, I think resonates with everyone because of so many lack of opportunities for Black females. So how was being a Black female artist shaped how you view the entertainment world?
Um, it actually was very difficult because I'm constantly fighting an uphill battle of the greats before me. So as a Black female artist, usually what I used to get is, oh, you have a really fantastic big voice. You sound like Aretha Franklin. Can you sing all of these Aretha Franklin songs? And that's not true because I'm not Aretha Franklin. I'm Kecia. I'm only one human being and I can do only what I can do. And so what I learned in the industry is I had to navigate what is respectful for me and what I needed to let my audience and people that thought bigger or more or didn't understand what my value was and what I can bring to the table. They always used to ask things to me rather than ask me what I wanted. What I value as a Black artist is I need to tell people what is my purpose and what I like, and they need to respect that. And that's what I learned as an artist is my value, my time, and my work ethic is it's as valuable as anybody else's.
And I think that's part of the misinformation that's out there regarding anyone of color is that they kind of feel like you can fit that particular role. You can sing like Aretha Franklin. You can sing like Gladys Knight. You can sing like any other Black individual, and you really just want to be uniquely yourself. And that happens a lot. And they try to put you into a particular role that they see fitting for you. And this is what doesn't make us develop more in this entertainment field.
Which is interesting. I used to sing on Carnival cruise ships, and so I used to be able to sing anything from Tina Turner to a rock band and Drake. The scope of the idea of what an artist is willing and capable of doing was just you should be able to do everything. And everybody knows that that is not attainable.
No,
And
you
it's
just
just
sing
not.
Frank Sinatra. I do.
Yes. Are you kidding me? You name a song, I have it in my Rolodex.
We're just gonna have you do a whole cabaret. Bring you back, Maddie on text. Bring you back on Carnival Live because that would just be
Okay.
awesome. Just to see. I mean, we would just probably have all kinds of people coming in. So if
It's
singing,
weird. If you do that, it's weird. I'm like a genius with it. It's weird. If you put like two notes of a song, I can sing it on the dime.
I
It's
bet you
weird.
can. That's awesome though. I just fool around at home. I
Ah!
love I just do. I just do all kinds of voices. I love Barbara Streisand. and all those types of things. It's really
Okay, so
no,
we can really like go all of me. Why not take
all of me.
all of
It's about
me? Okay, we
do
can do
right.
this all
Yeah,
day.
I'll just bring it right down.
Yeah.
I love Tom Jones. It's not unusual to.
You want to be loved by anyone.
Da-na-na.
Da-da-da.
Did you see him? I'm segue out of that. He was on what's the name of that show that you push the button and he turns around. He's so old, but my goodness, his voice was booming. I could not believe him. I could not. Make sure you Google
I
that.
don't know the show.
I
I
could
don't know.
not believe that was him. But Kecia, if singing and acting didn't work, what was your other career options?
Nothing. Yeah, literally nothing. I don't know what I would have done. I think I got lucky. Um, my dad was when I was in high school, he wanted me to just think of my options before I went to college. And he said, "What do you think about accounting?" And I was like, "I don't like math," which is weird because I'm a musician and and math actually goes together, but nothing, literally nothing.
Not writing?
And yeah, no, I don't think I don't think I would either be a publisher because I used to read a lot. Nothing. I was always going to be in entertainment in some form,
Wow.
shape.
You were very
Yeah.
determined. You was going to make it work.
Mhm.
You was going to force
Yeah.
it on that. I can understand that. So I just by your bio, I tell you, it looks like you've been around the world and back. Uh, but where have you traveled? What are some places that you've traveled that?
I've been to Japan, China, Africa, the UAE, um, um, uh, the Barbados, St. Vincent, um, uh, uh, Puerto Rico. I think I've touched about. I How about this? I don't want to oversell. I've traveled a lot. And I've gone through I'm on my third passport. I think that's yeah, I'm on my third.
And you keep them as souvenirs, right? I would.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But not souvenirs. I keep them as legacy
Yeah.
information
I
when I
love
have
that.
children.
Yes.
Yeah.
Memoirs there. Beautiful. So these places you travel, did you pick up any languages? Did you?
Well, I did not pick up any languages other than my husband,
Okay.
a little bit of French. I met my husband, and he is from Haiti, and he
Ah,
speaks French.
okay.
Um, and so I've been learning French, but in college, when I was studying music, I was studying German, Italian, Latin, and French as well, and Spanish as well.
Okay. On our first day, we had our special guest Read-InFluencer, Sergeant Grisby. He's also from Haiti. He's not here today. Yeah, and he travels back there frequently. Um, and Danny, when he comes back from his little break, he'll tell you that he goes. I think he goes back there to build schools or something to that effect. Anything to help the youth. He's very involved with helping the youth. So, how much, Kecia, do you use your education in everyday life as an entertainer? So we're
Every
moving on
single
like
day, every single day. It is it is actually my cloak of armor, to be honest with you. Lately, I have found that my education um, helps me communicate with professionals better than I used to be able to navigate professionals. I don't know where uh, I don't want to say that times have changed, but I have noticed that in the past 4 to 5 years, that education has been the fundamental of how I now navigate my career and my business as a performer and music and entertainment. and who I work with. I've been working with NYU and Juilliard and Tisch, and
Mm,
education is paramount.
yeah.
It's the only thing that we talk about. Even when I am in a studio and I'm writing music, we can't write a song unless we talk about education and what we've learned and our experiences, and all of that is what we digest, what we read, how we communicate with each other. It's all about education, so it's a daily thing,
It
every
is.
day.
I agree. So,
Mhm.
Kecia, what is your favorite book?
My favorite book will
And it
be,
could be during milestones, I guess, because
yeah.
we change as we grow and what becomes our favorite book over time.
um my favorite book will be, I hate to say this. This is so silly. Ricky Tikki Timbo, No Sa Rimbo, Chari Ruchi, Pip Perry Pimbo fell into the well. It actually is a book.
Yeah,
That's
I
his
heard of
name.
that book long time ago. It's a old book. Yeah.
It's a very old book.
Yeah, it's a very old book.
It's a Chinese proverb book
Yeah,
about
I
this
haven't
young kid.
heard that in
Um,
a long time. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and
Book
the
now.
parents named their second son this super long name, and to give their son this very long name was like an honor. It was an honor to
Yeah.
give this appreciation for this name. But because it was so long that after he was born, they had all of these celebrations, and it was like, and we're giving Ricky Tiki Timbo, No Sa Rimbo, Chari Baruchi, Tip Rimbo. And it was just so long. And so
My goodness.
he grew up and nobody ever wanted to call him. They shortened it to Tiki Tiki Timbo. He ended up falling into a well and he ended up dying. It's a sad story. And he ended up dying because everybody couldn't save him because his name was so long.
Oh, I
So
know.
everybody's yelling out, "Oh, we have to save Tiki Tiki Tempo, no Stop Rainbow, Driver, Richie, Tiffany Rainbow." I don't know why that's entertaining to me, but I love that book. I love it.
It sounds like a moral story.
It's
Don't name your
also like,
child a long name.
don't name your children long names. Don't put them in peril. But it's a very sweet, because Tiki Tiki was a sweetheart. Apparently, he went around to all of his neighbors, and he used to grow things. He was a gardener. He was such a beautiful kid. But Tiki Tiki,
Thank you for
man.
reintroducing that story. I remember that story, and I'm like, it's coming back to me. I'm starting to look at the remember the pictures in the book because I have to dig deep down in there. Oh my goodness, that is so wonderful, and I'm pretty sure our audience who's listening also is very interested in
I
finding this
hope that they
book.
like it. Oh God,
Yes.
Tiki
If
Tiki.
you are just joining us, guys, we are with Kecia Deroly, a theater veteran and a world travel counselor, performer. And she is just sharing with us her, some questions we're asking. We're just finding so much about her before she'll begin her story. So we got your favorite book. So who would you say you sing a lot? So who's your favorite singer then?
I every day it changes because I listen to music every day. Um, it's a mantra for me.
Oh,
Morning, the minute I wake up, I have to hear music. When I sleep, I have to hear it. So it does transition.
okay.
Lately, Audra Day, Audra Day, Billie Holiday, Nina
Ah,
Simone. They are my her H period, E period, R period. She's magnanimous. And to speak to someone that I actually have met, Stevie Wonder will
oh,
always be, yeah, a favorite of mine.
yes, I love Stevie Wonder. So when you're just relaxing with the
Mhm.
fireplace crackling and you just say, I just want to listen to something to just have me mellow out, which one would be your music of choice or your singer of choice?
See, I think I'm kind of like the kids. That's not the way to get me to answer that question, to be honest with you, because that's not how I feel every night when I
Oh,
go to bed. Sometimes I am trying to listen to Beyonce. I'm trying to throw the roof off at like 10 o'clock at night. It depends. It all depends.
I love it. I'm like that too because I have my song list, but they kind of don't match. It'll go from a high to a low to a country, and my husband,
Right.
what is that? Who does that? Who DJs like that? I said, I don't know. I just like to go up and down. So, oh yeah, I remember
Yeah.
I love that. I just like to just move back and forth. That's great. So if you could pick a Broadway show to be in, wow, which one would you choose?
Hamilton. Alexander Hamilton.
Really?
Who knows it? Who knows it?
I have not seen it. I know
No.
about it. Tickets, I guess, were hard to get by. There was some controversy about the person who wrote it and the characters depicted and so on and so forth. But everybody's going to have their opinion about it and but I heard it was a very, very good play.
I have seen it now going on 7 times.
Wow.
And I have seen three of my friends participate in the show. And I promise you, any idea that I could ever feel about the show, it's such a beautiful arrangement of
Mhm.
artistry and history
Yes.
that unless I'm doing that while communicating my feelings, it's just brilliant. That's how
Oh.
I feel about it.
Did you audition for a part in that Broadway show?
I actually wasn't in the country to audition for it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well,
No, it's okay. I
it was
have two
it's
friends that are in it.
okay.
I'm good. We good.
But I guess if they hear you right now, if one of them, if any of you guys out there who has any influence in Hamilton, she would like to be in that show, she's choosing it. So call her up, Kecia the Fabulous.
Thank you,
So
ma'am.
now, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I mean,
Well, I actually put 5 years. I always set goals for myself for the 5 year goal. So where I see myself in 5 years is always not where I am today. I
mm,
always want to be progressive in an uphill ladder. If I am, um, if I lose everything tomorrow and I have to start from scratch, my 5 year plan is that I want to just make sure that in 5 years I'm not doing the same thing I'm doing today. And so in 5 years, it looks like I would like to um, continue to be a director, direct shows that speak to conversations about race, speak to conversations about love and integrity, and also just I just want to open myself up to um, information that is progressive. I think that's 5 year plan,
the
just
5.
uphill ladder.
Yeah,
Whatever the 5 year uphill plan is, I don't like to pigeonhole myself in something that is not attainable and not achievable.
that's good. That's a good way of thinking. So do you think you're going to go the way of Netflix? A lot of people are creating programs and shows, mini series and placing it on Netflix and other Hulu and other um uh programs, Amazon, and other Peacock. Their names is popping up all the time. Do you think that you'll produce something maybe one day that'll be something you might be interested in, that could just reach more people?
I would like to have the opportunity, obviously. Yeah, absolutely. But like I said before, I will not pigeonhole myself to anything
Hmm.
specifically.
Is there something you would like to direct that is a passion that you've always wanted to direct, that if you had all the resources, you can get anything you want, and you say, I would like to direct a blank about blank?
Yeah, I think I'm doing it right now. I I wanted to direct Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, which is a show
Mm,
that has not been picked up for years, and has not been remade.
yes.
And I'm bringing it to the stage, not in a dinner theater sort of way.
Okay.
Um, and if I can bring it back to a film setting, I think that would be powerful. I think
Yeah.
it's one of those films that encompasses the dynamics that we have conversation about racial disparity and ignorance often.
Yes.
And and the writer and director of the original screenplay did a phenomenal job in depicting that, and I would be honored if I had the opportunity. That would be the show that I would sink my teeth in 100%.
Okay. And guys, you've heard it, those who are just joining us. And welcome to our first largest virtual Read-InFluencers Encore event. Thank you for all the love and support that you have showed us these past 2 days in creating this historical event. And we have our special guest Read-InFluencers, Danny Rodriguez, and we have Kecia Deroly. I mean, we have such a wonderful time today. Guys, you are making this event happen, and we would like to invite even more special guests, Read-InFluencers, that we can spread literacy and we can spread your influence, and they're going to spread their influence on you. So, Kecia, we're going to, it's going to be reading an excerpt, as I said, from the explosive book, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. And this book does contain some adult themes that are mature, and the subject matter, which some listeners out there may find uncomfortable and or just inappropriate for younger years and even for yourself. But if you do decide to stay, please use this opportunity for discussion, open dialogue about these topics with your family members and with your friends. Because I believe that if we have the right information, that we can help just dispel all this confusion, misinterpretations, and other malign depictions of minorities in society, and what we may feel and think about each other, what we're picking up from social media, what we're picking up from television, and even songs. And sometimes it's in books that don't really give it information, it's more for entertainment purposes. But I believe this is a very strong book, and this is why I didn't want to forgo it. I think that what's happening in our world today is because of us suppressing this information and sometimes acting as if it does not exist. And we just don't want it to fall on us. We want to have some information prior so that we will know how to respond and know how to react. So thank you, Kecia, for reading this book today. I'm not going to show the entire words on the screen, but I'm just going to show where she's going to be starting. Or she's not going to read the whole book, guys, but just a part of the book, and she's going to make sure she's cognizant of our audience and allow you to contemplate each word that she will be saying. Thank you so much, and I'm going to set that up.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Milton. Before I actually start to read, I want to give context to what I'm reading. And Ta-Nehisi Coates, he wrote this book. It's called Between the World and Me. And this is a slight biography about his life and his experience in the world. And the reason why I chose this excerpt, I'm sorry, is because I thought it was important to speak the words of someone that has experienced similar relations that we often experience as young adults in the world. And how do we communicate our experiences well between each other? Do we understand how to communicate well? It is very difficult to do that. And I think he articulates what he felt when he was a young adult and how he transitioned into a man. And I am proud to bring his words to life. I am afraid. I feel the fear most acutely whenever you leave me, but I was afraid long before you. And in this, I was unoriginal. When I was your age, the only people I knew were Black, and all of them were powerfully, adamantly, dangerously afraid. I had seen their fear all my young life, though I had not always recognized it as such. It was always right in front of me, the fear. The fear was there in the extravagant boys of my neighborhood and their large rings and medallions, their big puffy coats, the full length furred collared leather, which were obviously their armor against the world. They would stand on the corner of Gwen Oak and Liberty, or Cold Spring and Park Heights, or outside Mandarin Mall with their hands dipped in Russell sweats. I think back on those boys now, and all I see is fear. And all I see is them girding themselves against the ghost of the bad old boys, the bad old days when the Mississippi mob gathered round their grandfathers so that the branches of the Black body might be torched, then cut away. The fear lived on in their practice bop, their slouching denim, their big t-shirts, the calculated angles of their baseball caps, a catalog of behaviors and garments enlisted to inspire the belief that these boys were in firm possession of everything they desired. I saw it in their customs of war. I was no older than 5, sitting on the front steps of my home on Woodbrook Avenue and watching 2 shirtless boys circle each other close and buck shoulders. From then on, I knew that there was a ritual to the street fights, bylaws, and codes that, in their very need, attended to all the vulnerability of the Black teenage bodies I didn't see. I heard the fear in the first music I ever knew, the music that pumped from the boom boxes full of grand boast and bluster. The boys who stood on the Garrison and Liberty up to the Park Heights loved this music because it told them, against all evidence and odds, that they were masters of their own lives, their own streets, and their own bodies. I saw it in the girls, in their loud laughter, in their gilded bamboo earrings that announced their names thrice over. And I saw it in their brutal language and hard gaze, how they would cut with you with their eyes and destroy you with their words for the sin of playing too much. Keep your name out of your mouth, they would say. I would watch them after school, how they would square off like boxers, Vaseline up, earrings off, Reeboks on, and leap at each other. I felt the fear in the visits to my Nana home in Philadelphia. You never knew her. I barely knew her. But what I remember is her hard manner, her rough voice. And I knew that my father's father was dead, and that my uncle's Oscar was dead, and that my uncle David was dead, and that each of these instances was very unnatural. And I saw it was in my own father, whose love of me, whose counsel of me, slipped me money to care for you, care for me. My father was so very afraid. I felt it in the sting of his black leather belt, which amplified, which was more anxiety than anger. My father, who beat me as if someone might steal me away, but because that's not exactly what was really happening all around us. Everyone had lost a child somehow to the streets, to jail, to drugs, to guns. It was said that these lost girls were sweet as honey and would not hurt a fly. It was said that these lost boys would just receive a GED and begun to turn their lives around. And now they were gone, and their legacy was a great fear. Have they told you their story? When your grandmother was 16 years old, a young man knocked on her door. The young man was named Nana Joe's boyfriend. No one else was home. Ma allowed this young man to sit and wait until Nana Joe returned, but great grandma got there first and asked the young man to leave. And then she beat your grandmother terrifyingly one last time so that she might remember how easily she could lose her body. Ma never forgot. I remember her clutching my small hand tightly as we crossed the street. She would tell me that if I ever let her go and we were killed by an oncoming car, she would beat me back to life. How? I was 6. And my and dad took me to the local park often. I slipped from their gaze and found a playground. Your grandparents spent anxious minutes looking for me. When they found me, Dad did what every parent I knew would have done. He reached for his belt. I remember watching him in a kind of daze, awed at the distance between punishment and offense. Later, I would hear it in my dad's voice. Either I can beat him or the police. I don't know. Maybe it saved me. Maybe it didn't. All I know is the violence rose from the fear like smoke from a fire, and I cannot say whether the violence, ever administered in fear or love, sounded the alarm or choked us at the exit. What I know that fathers who slam their teenage boys for sass, but then release them to streets where their boys employed and were subject to the same justice. And I knew mothers who belted their girls, but the belt could not save these girls from drug dealers twice their age. We were the children employed our darkest humor to cope. We stood in the alley where we shot basketballs through hollowed crates and cracked jokes on the boys whose mothers who wore them out. I mean, with beating in front of them entire 5th graders. These are 5th graders. We sat on the numbers 5 buses headed downtown laughing at some girls whose mother who never knew to reach out for anything like cable wires, extension cords, pots and pans. We are always laughing. We were laughing, but I know that we were afraid of those who loved us most. Our parents resorted to lash the way the flagrants in the plague years resorted to the scourge. Man, to be Black in Baltimore of my youth was to be naked for the elements of the world. Before all the guns, flasks, knives, crack, disease, it is not error or pathology. It is correct and intended to result of policy, to be predictable and to have an upshot, I guess, of people forced of centuries to live under fear. The law, which I found, did not protect us. And now, in your time, the law has become an excuse for stopping and frisking your body. But is that society? Society is supposed to protect us, but society that protects some people through a safety net of schools, government-backed home loans, and ancestral wealth. But can you protect you with the club of criminal justice has either failed in enforcing its good intentions, or has it succeeded in something more darker? However you call it. The result was our infirmity, but not the criminal forces of the world. It does not matter if the agent of the forces is white or Black. It's what matters. It's our condition. It's what the system. It what makes our body breakable. It makes me afraid. I am afraid. The revelation of these forces, the series of great changes, has unfolded over the course of my life. The changes are still unfolding and will likely continue until I die. I was 11 years old, standing out in the parking lot in front of the 7-Eleven, watching a crew of older boys standing near the street. Check this out. They yelled and gestured at who? Another boy? Young? Like me? You stood there, almost smiling, gamely throwing hands. He taught me that day that his body was in constant jeopardy. Who knows what that brought him to that knowledge? The projects, a drunken father, an older brother, discussed by police, a cousin pinned in the city jail. This is overwhelming and outnumbered, over encumbered, not by the matters that became our whole world, but this was a war of the possession of our bodies, my body. And that would be the war of my whole life. I stood there for several seconds, marveling at these older boys, these beautiful sense of fashion. Oh man, they wore all the ski jackets. I mean, the kind which my day, my mother put on layaway in September, then piled up over time, hours, so that I would not have to wrap and be ready on Christmas. They had those jackets on. I was forced in a light-skinned boy to put a long head jacket over me. Are you kidding? I was in 6th grade. School had just let out, and it was just fighting weather, early spring. What was the exact problem here? What was I missing? What could we know? The boy with the small eyes reached out in his jacket and pulled out a gun. I recall it. It was the slowest motion, as though it was a dream. There the boy stood with the gun brandished, which he slowly untucked and untucked, and then untucked and then untucked once more. And in his small eyes, I saw a surging rage that could, in an instant, erase my body. That was 1986. That year, I felt myself to be drowning in the news reportings of murder. I was aware that these murders very often did not land upon the intended targets, but fell upon my great aunts, the PTA mothers, the grandmothers, the overtime uncles, and the joyful children. Fell upon them random and reluctant, like great sheets of rain. I knew this in theory, but could not understand it as fact until the boy with the small eyes stood across from me, holding my entire body in his small hands. He did not shoot. His friends pulled him back. He had affirmed my place in the order of things. He had let me know how easily I could have been selected. I thought the subway home that day, processing the episode all alone. I did not tell my parents. I didn't tell my teachers. And if I told my friends, I would have done so within all the excitement needed to pretend that I did not succumb to the fear that I felt in that moment. I remember being amazed that death could be so easily rised up against. From nothing of a boyish afternoon to a billowing up from like a fog. I knew that West Baltimore was where I lived. that the north side of Philadelphia, where my cousins live, that the south side of Chicago, where my cousins and friends and my father lived, compromised a world I did not understand and I didn't know. Somehow, outside of all that, I found beyond firmament, past the asteroid belt, that were other worlds where children didn't regularly fear their bodies. I mean, come on. I knew this because there was a large television resting in my living room. In the evenings, I would sit before this television, bearing witness to the, come on, the world outside of me, the other world. There were little white boys with complete collections of football cards, seriously, football cards. And their only worry was the popular friend and the popular girl in school. And that wasn't their only worry. They didn't even have poison oak to worry about. The other world was suburban and endless and organized and had pot roast and blueberries and fireworks, ice cream sundaes, immaculate bathrooms, small toy trucks. Come on, guys. I can't even stop. They were loose in wood backyards with steams and glens. Comparing these dispatches with the facts of my native world, I came to understand that my country was a galaxy, and this galaxy stretched far from my pandemonium of West Baltimore to the happy hunting grounds of Mr. Belvedere. I obsessed over the distance between the other sector of space and my own. And I knew that my portion of the American galaxy, where the bodies were enslaved by the tenacious gravity, where Black people reside, liberated portions, that wasn't the truth. The truth was this brilliant, beautiful, shining beacon, just sunshine. I knew that some inscrutable energy perceived the breach. I felt, but did not yet understand the revelation, the relations between the others, the other world and me. And I felt in this cosmic injustice a profound cruelty, which infused and abated in my belief system and desire to unshackle my body and achieve the velocity of escape. I'm gonna run. Do you ever feel the same need? Is your life, is it so very different than others? The grandness of the world, the real world, the whole world is a known thing for you. And you have no need to dispatch it because you have seen so much of the American galaxy and its inhabitants, their homes, their hobbies, up close. I don't know what it means to grow up with a Black president. I do. I'm so happy to know what that means. I grew up knowing what it means to have social networks, omnipresent media, and a Black woman everywhere in their natural hair. What I know is that when they lose the killer of Michael Brown, you said, I've got to go. And that cut me because for all of those different worlds, at our age, my feeling was exactly the same. And I recall that even then, I had not yet begun to imagine the perils that entangled us. You still believe the injustice was Michael Brown. You have yet to grapple with our own myths and narratives and discover the plunder everywhere else around the world. Before I have discovered what I've discovered, before I could escape what I've escaped, I had survived, and this could only mean a clash with the streets, but by which I mean not just physical books, not simply because people packed into them but the array of lethal puzzles and strange perils that seem to rise up from the asphalt of themselves. The streets transform every ordinary day into series of trick questions, and everything is incorrect. Every answer is incorrect. The risks is a beatdown. No one survives an unscathed situation like that. And yet, the heat that springs from the constant danger from our lifestyle of near death and experiences is kind of thrilling. We seek it out. We want to know what it looks like. This is what the rappers mean when they say and they pronounce themselves as addicted to the streets or in love with the game. Nah, I imagine they feel something like a parachute jumping out of an airplane, like rock climbers that have to climb to Mount Everest, base jumpers, or others, anything that's thrill seeking, those who choose to live on the edge. Of course, we choose nothing. I think we pretend to choose nothing. And I have never believed that my brothers would claim to run, much less own the city. But we did not design the streets. We did not fund them. We did not preserve them. But I was there, nevertheless, charged like all the others with the protection of my body. And I was terrified. That is my reading. Is that okay?
I tell you, I I was near tears at some points, and I just, you know, in my age, I've seen quite a few things in my life, and it just made me go back to the old neighborhood and just remember these things. And even though, sometimes in my life that I was small, I didn't really know what was going on. You think you looked out. I was a homebound. My mom kept me at home, so I look out the window and I observe. I was a very observant child, but I can remember that. And even as I got older, I remember those layaways, those coats that everybody wanted, those sneakers, because we didn't have this competition with sneakers. It was one brand of sneakers, that was it. Tennis shoes, that's what they called them. They called them Keds, and that's what you had. But even those were something that were cherished, that you really wanted. And now I can see how even much more difficult it is to um to go through this experience, and not and I'm a Black woman now, but as a Black boy, as a Black young man.
Right. I agree with you. When I initially read it, and this is why I wanted to speak to it, I wanted to speak to it and read it because I'm never going to be a young Black male in this world. That's never going to be my lot in life. I will always be a Black female. But I have brothers who I've heard conversations that they've had amongst each other growing up like this, and not really knowing how to navigate what's happening around them, and it's just what they see. And it's I think that Tainashi Coates did an excellent job of communicating what he saw, and luckily he didn't fall prey to the negative aspects, and he really was just an observer of what was around him. But a lot of children do fall prey to these things. They fall prey to, everybody has these sneakers, everybody has the puffy coat. It's what we invest our time and effort in. It's who likes us, who's our friends. And um it's not the totality of who we will be over time. And I did want to read it because I know that this is the age where we all want to impress our friends. Well, it's okay to understand who you are.
Okay, I'm sorry. This is why I really want to increase the literacy because of what's happening around us at this time and how relevant this book is to our youth and to our young adults, because it does speak to our times, even though this is in the 1980s. But when you read it and you think about it, that's why I was embracing every word that you were saying. I was like, this is still relevant. Nothing really has changed. The buildings, the facade has changed. We threw on a slab of paint. We may have, you know, rooted a tree, you know, put a fire hydrant, but the neighborhood scene is still the same across the country, not just little old America. It really is resonating across our country, where children of all cultures are experiencing these hardships and don't know which way to turn. And this is why spreading literacy and then pick up this book, this may have the answer that someone is not telling them. Maybe they're afraid to talk to an adult. Maybe they don't know how to express themselves. Maybe they don't know how to find the words. Maybe they're ashamed of it. And also, they could just be fearful of expressing those needs. And so that's why we puff up like those puffy jackets. And it's full of a lot of air, you know, and it's a little pin will just let it all out. It's that something that's small but sharp enough to puncture that outer surface will get a reaction, and sometimes it's really not good. And this is why, I mean, if you're joining us just now, guys, thank you so much for joining us for our first largest virtual Read-InFluencers Encore event. And we had our special guest, Read-InFluencer Kecia Deroly, who just did a wonderful rendition of an excerpt from this explosive book. If you have not read it, please pick it up today, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. This book contains a lot of themes, and I suggest you read it with someone, give it as a gift to someone, a young adult in your life, who this might help them navigate what's going on in their lives, but they just cannot narrow down and describe. And I say read it with them. I say read it with them too. And if you have younger children, you can read it to them and explain to them what they may have saw on television, even a movie. Movies are becoming more and more violent, and this is why we need literacy. We need books to set us free and bring it down in little small chunks so that we can understand and comprehend what is going on around us. We're going to take a break right now, and we'll be back in 1 minute. Remember, your mics are on, your camera's on, and we're still live.
God bless everyone.
Okay, we're back from our short break. If you are just joining us, thank you and welcome. We just had a powerful reading from one of our special guests, Read influencers, Kecia Deroly, reading an excerpt from the explosive book Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. I mean, that was just a wonderful, wonderful rendition. And I can't tell you guys, if you missed it, please make sure you view the video later and sit down with your family members and your younger adults in your household and just listen to that and reach out and purchase that book and read it together. And it will give you so much insight into the world today, and it's still relevant today as it was back in the 1980s. Again, guys, we want to make sure that you don't forget to follow, like, join, subscribe, and share our social media links of all our Mighty Young Techs and also of our Read influencers, and so that you'll know right firsthand of any upcoming events and how you can continue to support our passions and initiative. We're going to have our Mighty Young Techs read, but before we do, I want to thank you, Mr. Danny Rodriguez. Cafe Bustelo. He has to leave, and we hate to see him go. But we loved having you. Thank you for taking the time again. We're so humbled that you were able to give time and you were able to hear this rendition, and you can share with your family and friends as well. Maybe this be the talk of the evening. But I would like to thank you again and hope you'll come back again when we have another influencing event. Who knows what it'll be based on? Could be based on Cafe Bustelo. We don't know. We're going to keep saying that. And remember his own words. No goofy people we're hanging out with today or tomorrow, because goofy people lead to what? Goofy things, goofy prizes.
Goofy situations.
Goofy situations. Don't be with the goof troop. Okay, guys. We love you. Thank you so much, Danny, for being with us for 3 nights in this encore performance. And everybody loves you. I tell you, we got so many comments from our audience and so many likes because of you joining with us, you and Lavender. And we hope to see you again. Thanks for joining us. Everybody say bye. Thank you
Thank
so
you, guys.
much. Thank you
Thank
so much.
you.
Have a good evening. Good evening.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
So, guys, those who are just joining us, thank you again for being with us tonight for our first virtual Read Influencers Encore event. You have made it historical these past 2 days. We had an overwhelming a lot of love shown and increasing in our viewership. And we ask you to please follow, like, and join and share and subscribe to our social media accounts of our Mighty Young Techs and also of our Read Influencers. Hopefully Kecia will come back to return after her short break, but that book she read was just so powerful, and we don't even know how to follow, but we hope it opened up some dialogue and discussion within your home and in your neighborhood and in your workplace, if possible. So we're going to have our next reader, Sparkle. We're going to have Read, and we want to get her book set up. She was going to be reading The Day You Begin by Jacqueline Woodson and illustrated by Rafael Lopez.
The day you begin. Can you please make the text a little bigger? Okay. There will be times when you walk into a room and no one is there. There is quite like you. Maybe it will be your skin, your clothes, or the curl of your hair. There will be times when no one understands the way words curl from your mouth, the beautiful language of the country you left behind. My name is Rigoberto,
We just moved here from Venezuela. And because they don't understand, the classroom will fill with laughter and the teacher quiets everyone. Rigoberto from Venezuela, your teacher says so soft and beautifully that your name and homeland sound like flowers blooming the first bright notes of a song. There will be times when the words don't come your own voice, once huge, now smaller, when the teacher asks, "What did you do last summer? Tell the class your story." "We went to France," Charlia says. "These shells come from a beach in Maine." A boy named Jonathan holds out a jar filled with tiny shells so fragile they look like they'll turn to dust in your own untraveled hands. "My whole family went to India, Spain, South Carolina." Each souvenir, a small triumph of a journey. Their troubles did There's troubles going on and on. And you stand in front of that classroom. You can only remember how the heat waved as it lifted off the curb, and your day spent at home caring for your little sister, who made you laugh out loud and hug you hard at nap time. You can only remember the books you kept on reading long after she had fallen to sleep. And in that room where no one else is quite like you sit down at your own empty hands and wonder, what good is this when other students were flying and sailing and going somewhere? There will be times when the lunch your mother packed for you is too strange or too unfamiliar for others to love as you do. When even your own friend Nadia will wrinkle her nose and say, "What's in there anyway?" And you'll wonder how she doesn't see the rice beneath the meat and kimchi. You'll wonder why she doesn't remember that rice is the most popular food in the world. There will be times when climbing the trees are too high or running is too fast and far. The game isn't one you can ever really play. "I don't want him on our team. You can watch. Maybe you can have a turn later." There will be times when the world feels like a place that you're standing all the way outside of. And all that stands beside you is your own brave self, steady as steel and ready, even though you don't yet know what you're ready for. There will be times when you walk into a room and no one there is quite like you until the day you begin to share your stories. "My name is Angelina, and I spent my whole summer with my little sister." You tell the class your voice, stronger than it was a minute ago, reading books and telling stories. And even though we were right on our block, it was like we got to go everywhere. "Your name is like my sister's," Rigoberto says. "Her name is Angelina too." And all at once, in the room where no one else is quite like you, the world opens itself up a little wider to make some space for you. This is the day you begin to find the places inside your laughter and your lunches, your books, your travel, and your stories, where every new friend has something a little like you and something else so fabulously not quite like you at all.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much, Sparkle, with your rendition of this story. This is a great story. And it almost resonates with the story we just heard, but on a lower level. But that experience of being new to something and not knowing what to do. uh, with this in this story is just trying to find your way and when you begin, because that's how we all, the day that you begin, the day that you start, the day that you embark on your own, the day you grow up and become of yourself, you look around, you've developed friends, you're part of your community, part of society, and you see all these different things. You're looking through different lens now, not as a child anymore, not as a teenager, now as an adult. How it just, this pattern just grows, and how you view the world through different eyes. Thank you, Kecia. I'm glad you had that wonderful break. I know that it's difficult, reading, but with such passion that we needed that breath just so we could just contemplate about what you just said to us, and we could digest those words, because those were a lot. Those are something that we really need to think about, and we can't just rush right in and start reading a nursery book there. We have to really think about these things, and I know that our audience out there felt the same way too. They just needed a little break to say,
I'm so sorry. I
no,
apologize.
that's okay.
I didn't mean to run away.
I know you needed a little bit of water there. I
Yeah.
knew I needed a little break there to get a little drink in my parched throat. But I tell you, the readings and story. This is why I could not forgo that book. After I read it and I thought about it, I said, this is just way too powerful, because there's a lot of distance between the world and me. There is
It
a
really
lot.
is.
What
Hmm.
is it really saying? We have to come back and examine that, get some readers who are interested in, and just say, examining each page and what it means and what it was really talking about, just on the surface, but underneath as well. But we our next read and guest read influencer will be coming soon. Her name is Noelle, and she's multi-award winning technology who specializes in artificial intelligence. And she also created some, guess what, Alexa apps. So you may be even using some.
Alexa,
So
you
if
kidding
your
me?
time permits, please wait for her. She's been with us for the past two days, and so she's going to be running a little late. But I just want to say to our audience, if you are just joining us, thank you so much for your overwhelming and love and response to our past 2 days of our first largest virtual Read Influencers event. This is our encore performance. We're back by popular demand because you asked for it. Viewers, please don't forget to like, join, subscribe, share with everyone you know, and maybe you don't know, the social media accounts of our Mighty on Text and our Read influencers, Kecia Deroly. And so that you're the first to know of any upcoming events and how you can continue to support our passions and initiatives. And if you live near her in Michigan, make sure you look out for her Broadway play that she's going to be doing. Guess Who's Coming to Dinner? If you didn't know, that was an old movie by Sidney Poitier. I haven't seen that movie in a little bit.
Do you
And I
mind
love.
if I do the readout on that?
Oh, absolutely. Who better
Oh,
than you?
okay, okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, okay. Well, I am directing this amazing show. It was initially a film, and was always a film, and that was written in the 1960s,
Yeah.
1967 to be exact, and it was called Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, and it talks about a family, a white conservative liberal family, conservative liberals, and a black family, uh, and that is not quantified because we're black people and you're young. So, and it's the relationship where the white family, they have a daughter, and the black family has a son, and the two meet and fall madly in love. And it's the parents' relationship on how they come together and discuss, what does this marriage look like? Are we willing to accept a black man? Does that mean anything to us? Why does it have so much weight? Why are we uncertain that he should be a good uh, partner from our daughter? And as we raised her correctly. And so whoever she loves, we should love as well. So it is a conversation about racial um, relationships within the dynamics of our families and why we feel the way we feel and we don't know why we feel the way we feel. I don't think I want to categorize it as a racism, because I don't think that our families, because we love who we love, our families are racist. I think that, and I think I'll only speak to my family and my husband's family, but I feel that, like this show, most families just, we love whoever our children love, and we want to accept whoever our children accept.
Yes, yes.
And then when they bring somebody that we don't know their background and where they come from, it scares us and it terrifies us. So we ask the things that may be inappropriate to ask, and we suggest things that are inappropriate, but that doesn't make us bad people. And this show is surrounds that, and it's all about just acceptance and understanding, and a wonderful branch of bringing two different families together
Right.
that is based solely on significant love. And I can't wait to bring it to the stage, honestly.
I
It's
can't wait.
awesome.
I hope to see it on Netflix. I can't get out to Michigan, but you never know what's going to happen. And that's how powerful
Never
the
know.
message is. It's so relevant, you know, and I love Cindy Poitier. He's such a great actor. And I'm glad that you're bringing it to the stage for our masses, because so many people have never seen it before. And, you know, in my Mighty and Text, I always play old movies for them.
Oh
I
yeah?
play, yes, I
Really?
do. Oh,
I think
yes.
I've heard.
I play old,
She's like,
they watched Lilies of the Field. I showed them Lilies of the Field during the holidays, because I like to watch that movie. They've already seen Lucy. I had them watching Brady Bunch, Leave It to Beaver, you know,
wait,
and
okay.
I'm going to show them
Have
this
you
one.
shown them Lassie?
Lassie, I haven't got to Lassie yet, but I'm going to show them Lassie. I'm going to show them that. You know, there's so
Lassie talks
many.
about loyalty, girl.
Yeah.
Loyalty.
And my children grew up on these classics as well. I don't have to be afraid about the content or about whoop, there's a slip of the tongue or anything like that. It's just, you know, the acting is just really great back then, and they express themselves. So I probably will show the Mighty and Tex the Who's Coming to Dinner, and also I showed them what was the one I just showed them, The Parent Trap. I showed them the original
Oh, the
and the
Parent
new
Trap is
one,
so good.
and
Yeah.
they like the original better. The original is actually more violent. They were
Of the Parent
fighting.
Trap? Yes,
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 they
it
were
is. Yeah,
fighting.
yeah.
And they were like, wow, Mrs. Melton. I said, well, see, it really, you know, you really have to examine it. So they had a good time. I've always showed that they're so open-minded. I always told them to be open-minded. You don't have to like it, you know, you don't have to keep it, but you should, you know, you should have knowledge of it. And I probably will show that, probably not tonight, guys. I know you got to pick your own movie that we're going to watch, but
Do
later
you
on.
mind if I jump in? Is there any
Yeah,
questions that you guys have for me?
yeah. In our audience
Do-
too, if you have any questions you would
Yeah.
like to ask of Kecia, that would be great.
I mean, you don't have to ask me anything.
They're usually very talkative, but they'll probably ask later. They're thinkers.
Okay.
They'll wait.
They are thinkers, but I do have a question for Chelsea. Chelsea,
Yes.
you read that amazing book. You are an amazing reader. Is that something that you like to do or want to pursue going forward? Or maybe a better question is, what would you like to do as you grow up?
Well, I do enjoy reading and I feel calm when I read, but I do want to be a scientist, but I am planning on reading at the same time more often.
What type of scientist are you looking to be?
probably a chemical scientist or a research scientist.
Chemist.
Thank you.
Making
Amazing.
concoctions, going to create the next zombie apocalypse. I see it coming.
No, she will not. Don't do that.
I
I
wonder what
trust
this
you.
does.
Don't let her. I trust you, Chelsea. I don't trust Mrs. Milton.
They're very experimental. So you never go wrong. And I always tell them, listen, ask. All they could do is say no. Don't
Absolutely.
do anything that's dangerous or you can't come back from. So always be mindful of that. They're very conscientious of when we do our design engineering design. My guys, Sparkle has to leave and Todoroki has to leave. Those are they're members of the Mighty on Tech, and they're going to leave. And then we're going to have Tiny read Before She Was Harriet. And that will give us time. And then we'll have our next special guest, Read-InFluencer, come on. And so we want to say bye to
Well,
Mighty on Tech and
Bye.
Sparkle and
guys,
Todoroki.
bye.
We'll
It was
see you
such a
later.
pleasure reading
Bye.
and meeting all of you.
Yes.
I'm
Thank you.
sending my love. Be amazing. Keep
They,
reading.
they
Keep
are.
being awesome.
You guys are
You are my
so dedicated.
future. Okay. I'll see you
Okay,
soon.
bye.
Bye, guys. I'll see you later.
Bye.
We have Tiny here who is going to be reading our book Before She Was Harriet. We're going to just switch to that screen now.
Before She Was Harriet by Lisa Clean Ransom, illustrated by James E. Ransom. Here she sits, an old woman, tired and worn, her legs stiff, her back achy. But before wrinkles formed, her eyes failed, before she reached her twilight years, she could walk for miles and see clearly under a sky lit only with stars. Before she was an old woman, she was a suffragist, a voice for women who had none in marriages and courts, in voting booths. Before her voice became soft and raspy, it was loud and angry, rising above injustice. Before she was a suffragist, she was General Tubman, rising out of the fog, armed with courage, strong in the face of rebels and planters and overseers as they watched fields burn and bridges fall and 700 slaves stop chopping and start running to a woman who fired them to freedom on the Combahee River turned into River Jordan. Before she was General Tubman, she was a Union spy, carrying secrets across battlefields to soldiers fighting in the Civil War for President Lincoln to end slavery. Before she was a Union spy, she was a nurse caring for those hit with bullets and hated and fear, tending to them with bandages and words in the blooded dirt of Southern soil. Before she was a nurse, she was Aunt Harriet, daughter of Ben and Rit, who helped her parents flee their master and find their way through woods and streams to the safety of Canada, a new home in North. Before she was Aunt Harriet, she was Moses, a conductor on an underground railroad with no trains and no track, just passengers traveling to freedom up north through swamps, past slave catchers across rivers under the cover of night. Seeking the promised land for her people, led by dreams and God and faith. And A, wasp of woman with the courage of a lion. Before she was Moses, she was Minty of Maryland, of one slave owner, and then others who worked her, punished her with the leashes, broke her back, but not her spirit. Before she was Minty, she was Arminta, a young girl taught by her father to read the woods and stars at night, readying for the day. She'd leave behind slavery along with her name and pick a new one, Harriet. And remember her days as a suffragist, as a general, as a spy, as a nurse, as Aunt Harriet, as Moses, as a conductor, as Minty, as Arminta, who dreamed of living long enough to one day be old, stiff and achy, tired and worn, and wrinkled and free.
Beautiful, 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 guys. That was excellent. That rendition of Before She Was Harriet. If you are just joining us, thank you for returning on our third day, our encore performance. Welcome, everybody. We just had a tiny read, Before She Was Harriet, written by Lisa Klein Ransom and illustrated by James Ransom. We also had our special guest read-influencer, Kecia Deroly, who read a wonderful rendition of a book that is just so powerful that just the title alone lets you know what it's about, Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates. We also are waiting for our next special guest read-influencer, Noelle Silver, Uniquely Noelle. She'll be joining us soon. And we also want to let you know, please don't forget to follow, like, join, subscribe, and share the social media accounts of our Mighty on Text and our read-influencers so that you're the first to know of any upcoming events and how you can continue to support our passion and initiatives. And even if you decided that maybe you want to be a read-influencer one day, just reach out to us, send us an email, send us an Instagram text, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Once again, reading and spreading literacy and spreading your influence is very important because it's one thing that brings people of all cultures together, and that's a great story, a great book, and a great storyteller. Because we are creating our own modernized version of a griot, and that's our read-influencer. So guys, if you are just joining us, please remember to continue to support us. I just heard a ding. We have joining us Uniquely Noelle Silver, who is going to be reading her book, I Am Enough. And we had a book that was earlier that I am every good thing. Those are affirmations that we need to do every day. So we're just going to wait to join. Thank you, Tiny, for staying with us. Some of our Mighty on Text had a short evening. There's Uniquely Noelle Silver. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Noelle, are you able to?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
Oh, good. Okay, because it says here Zoom doesn't know my audio or something. Anyway, but you can see me. Let me turn my camera and see if it works. Oh, it won't let me do that. Okay, hold on. So
Okay.
I'm just typing in my password. I don't know why it needs that, but that's okay. We'll just do what they ask. accommodate the
That
developers.
sounds like a hackathon. How can we solve that little problem there? Well, while
Right.
she's getting up, Noelle, we just want to introduce you to everyone who's just joining us. Noelle
Awesome.
Silva is a multi-award winning technologist who specializes in conversational AI and voice technology, intelligent apps and agents, and responsible AI practices. She's led teams at NPR, Microsoft, and Amazon, is the founder of hashtag Love Influencers and the AI Leadership Institute. She's passionate about mindful leadership, authentic personal branding, and the ethical and responsible use of technology in business. She was recently awarded the Microsoft Most Valuable Professional Award for Artificial Intelligence and is an influencer in voice and AI globally. Thank you for returning on our encore performance. I mean, we got such an overwhelming a lot of love and support from our community.
That's
Over 1,000
amazing.
views. It was just amazing.
I'm so
So uniquely
excited.
well, it's gonna become a household name. You have
That's
everybody
right.
tinkering, everybody hacking.
How exciting.
This is just everybody's just so enthused. And
That is so awesome.
we got off last night. Let me tell you, it was like 100, 125, and then you know, it jumped to 200. I said, okay. Then it was 3, 4. And by the time I went to bed and I woke up, it was over 1,000 views. And
Wow.
I just tell you, everybody's just sharing the love and sharing the information and spreading
That's
that literacy,
amazing.
because that's what it's all about.
That's what it's
Spreading
all
that
about.
literacy and spreading your influence, because we know you have it into to influence it and
I'm
encourage.
literally posting to Twitter right now to tell people, come
Yeah,
check
our
it
young
out.
adults and adults. You know that you're not picking up that book. It's been in
That's right.
that bedside table for a little while. You know your husband bought that favorite book you wanted like 2 years ago, and it's still sitting there, and it needs to
Yep.
be crunch up. So you're going to spread the literacy today, and we're going to get that resolution going if you haven't started already, guys. We're
Yes.
so exuberant. We Cafe Bustelo went out for dinner. He just left a little while ago. He gives his love and kudos to you. You know,
Awesome.
going to keep the spirit going and the sunshine going at this time.
So
So we're
amazing.
just going to go through those questions for those who are just joining us for the
Yes.
first time today. So tell us, Unique and Noel, how did you get started in tech?
Oh my gosh, it's so cool to hang out with you guys again.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so one of the things that I always like to share is that I'm not classically trained in technology. I didn't grow up like learning how to code, or I mean, you all now, I mean, you are actually getting exposed to tech way earlier than I did. But one gift my family, my dad specifically gave to me was a passion for science fiction. He calls it the golden age of science fiction. And it
Yeah.
was back in like when these stories were written about robots and what I call, and you mentioned conversational AI, or robots you can talk to, and in Star Trek and Star Wars, right? Like C3PO, R2D2, like they were all representations of computers we just talked to like they were our friends. And that literally became almost like this idea in my head that it wasn't impossible because I watched these movies and read these books that were all about that technology. And so it's interesting when, as my career kind of took off, I started my career at IBM. I don't know if I ever told you all that. But I started my career at IBM, which
Yes,
was a
IBM.
big deal back in the day. When you got a job at IBM, everyone like high fived you. You were set for life. Like you'd be there for 20 years.
Yeah.
And as you know, Miss Melton, that's no longer the case. And very quickly, I realized like I wasn't going to get a job where I'd stay at forever, right? I wasn't going to go and work for one company and retire there. Um, and I had to be okay with that because I was kind of raised on the idea that that was success. But yeah, so I got started in tech really with my imagination, and then it's actually a really cool thing to think about. It's this concept known as the reticular activation system. And basically, it says once you see something, your
Yeah.
mind recognizes its importance and starts to show it to you everywhere. And I feel like that's kind of how watching science fiction, reading science fiction books, is it just turned on this lens for me where I started to see cool technology opportunities everywhere, even at the young age of like 6 or 7 years old. So, yeah, I just thought I'd share that part of that story.
Yeah. I mean, that is just awesome. I mean, so with being not classically trained, my dear,
Yes.
technology. So what advice would you have given your younger self? We were back there. What were we tinkering with? Atari? I don't know.
Yeah, or
Regular.
Nintendo. The original Super Mario Brothers.
Yes.
Yes, and even so, my dad got me a Tandy 1000. I mean, it was our family computer. It had big
Oh,
old
yeah.
floppy drives.
I remember that.
And the very first game on there that I played was "Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?" And
Oh
some
my goodness.
yes, and it was awesome. Like
It
every,
was.
it was one of these games where it asked you questions, and of course it was geography and it was art and it was science and it was all these things combined together. But it was all based on a computer. Like it was a computer game, the first like that I had ever seen before. And then there was another game called Mist that I started playing. And so as
Oh,
I got
yes. Oh,
older,
yeah.
yeah, those were
MYST. Yes, I remember that.
yes. Yes. So yeah, and none of that though again wasn't it's kind of like what we're talking about, like doing hackathons and having fun on Alexa. Like it's not work. You're not like, you're not learning it and being like, oh my gosh, I have to learn a programming language and it's like math and I don't really like math. Like it was fun for me. And I learned so much through like those kinds of fun experiences. And that's why I was so excited to share with you all on the very first night we hung out about the joy and fun of building an Alexa skill.
Yeah.
Because even though you're going to learn so much about how robots talk while you're doing that, you
Yeah.
kind of learn it by accident because you're just having so much fun building something that will run on a, device in your
Yeah.
kitchen or device on your bedside table.
Yeah, I know you spoke about Ready Player One, and that whole movie. I was like, wow, if only that were going to happen like yesterday. And who knows, one of these guys may be famous for that in a couple of years, doing just that exact thing that we saw in that movie. So, what do you do besides just yourself? Keep up your energy and positive attitude. Did we get a little stuck there? I think so. With the love of technology, this is what happens with technology. Sometimes we get a little stuck. So she'll probably come leave and come back in, and then we'll be able to get back in, which is what I just thought. Yes. Yes, that's what I thought was gonna happen. I said she'll probably leave and come back in.
Here I am. I'm
I'm
back.
so glad you're techie so you could fix that
That's
issue.
right.
I
Multiple
know.
options available. I'm now coming to you live from my phone, so it's a slightly different angle.
Oh yes,
But
yes.
yeah, my whole computer just crashed, so it's fine.
Okay.
It's one thing. It's actually kind of interesting thing to think about is that I feel like my technology rebels against my own boundaries, right? So we're all here, and it's a
Yeah.
Saturday, and it's like, no, I worked hard for you all week. Like, no, you're
Wait,
not
wait, you didn't say you was doing a third day. That's what it said. But
No,
my camera did the same thing. It shut off in the very beginning. I'm like, what are you doing?
yes,
What
yeah,
are
it is
you doing?
spelling. We
They
need to
said,
say
wait a minute, we were off
fun.
today.
That's right. It's fun for us. It's okay, technology. You could work with us. We could do this.
That's
So,
right. Luckily, we know how to answer and get around that. So
that's
thank you so much. So we was just talking about your positive energy and how energetic you are, and we know you just breathe yourself and you're energetic. But really, like, how do you do this? How do you just keep on being so vibrant and exhilarating? I mean,
yes. Oh
can we
my God.
buy it in
So
the store?
excited.
Does Target offer it?
I'm so excited that we get to talk about this again today because I get to share with you one thing that I started doing about 10 years ago, which is crazy because some of the people, like some of you littles that I just met, are barely 10 or about, a little bit over that right now.
Okay.
And many listeners are probably around that age. So, but one of the things that was really impactful for me was when I started to be very intentional about my morning routine. Like as soon as I woke up, what I would do. And so what I started to do was really think about the first thing I wanted to do when I woke up, and we talked about this yesterday, was really foster that attitude of gratitude, right? So last night we had talked about the way that
my family gets around the dinner table and we all say one
Right.
thing before, and now we can't just say one thing, like it's like
Yeah.
6 things. But I also
Pull out the long paper.
myself, yes, exactly. But myself, when I wake up, that's how I want to start my day too. So before I even put my feet on the floor, I just open my eyes and I'm like, all right, what do I got going on? Oh my gosh, I'm grateful. And here is a fun, quick exercise. It's to just put your hand on your heart and just be like, you know what? I'm grateful that my heart is beating. And then as you breathe, I'm grateful that I'm breathing. And what does that allow you to do? I'm grateful for my body. I'm grateful that my body allows me to exercise. I'm grateful for the fact that I have children. Like all these things start to expand out from just a very simple thing is I'm awake. So I start my day with gratitude. And then the very next thing I do is you just mentioned this, on my bedside table. I mean, literacy, as you mentioned, is so important. Feeding your brain. One of my favorite quotes from one of my favorite books, the Bible, says, be renewed, right? You can be renewed by the transforming of your mind or your ideas. And that comes with intention. So every day I read something, whether it's always nonfiction, but could be something in like my work, or it could be something motivational. It could be the Bible. It could be, it doesn't matter what it is.
True.
And it doesn't have to be long. I carve out 5 minutes. Now, sometimes I can't stop at 5 minutes, but it's actually a trick to get me to do something that maybe I'm like, oh, I'm too busy. I'm like, all right, just 5 minutes. And then I realized how much value and like good juice and mojo I got on. And then I continue to do it. But that 5 minute mark is a really good place to start for anything, because anyone can do something for 5 minutes.
Yes, that's true.
And so after that, then so I spend time in gratitude. I then pick up my book, whatever it is I happen to be reading, Think and Grow Rich or Prosperity by Charles Fillmore. I'll read this book for a little bit. And then my goal is to journal or document what I'm doing. So I pick up my journal, also on my bedside table. And I don't journal like most people because I don't have time. I have littles who wake up. So I only do, remember I mentioned to you all last time, homework for life.
Yes, you did.
And write one sentence. And so here I actually write one sentence for each goal that I have that day, right? One that's personal, one that's financial, one that's career-based. And that's it, one-liner, just to get me focused and setting my intention. And then the last thing I do is I try to exercise. I get up and I move, yoga, quick walk, hop on my Peloton bike, whatever I have to do. But I think having that routine every day gives me something to hold on to. And it honestly makes me super happy. So I figured that's got to be part of.
That's good. I love it. And, thinking about the book now, how do you feel just because I want to segue to that question, how do you feel with books? Do you feel you like the digital ones, or you like the feel of the ruffle of the pages and actually flipping it, dropping spaghetti sauce?
Yes. I will tell you, I have more books. Oh, hold on. I'm going to turn my light on. It's a little bit bright. I have more books than I have anything else in my life. So when I moved from one house to another, I had over 67 book boxes, and I didn't have 67 of anything else. It was literally more than everything else I had combined. So I can, people say, oh, go through and you can purge them and give them to a library. But like each one is like a child to me. Like it taught me something, like my friend, right? I like highlight it, dog ear it, smell it. Like
that's true. I have books upon books, and I feel like, some books I can get rid of, the technology books, because it's antiquated. But other books I feel so endeared to, like all my children's books and books I've read, and I just keep them. I really do keep them in good condition. But they're just piling up. I just need another house for that. I just need another house.
Say like what is it, the beauty, if you've seen Beauty and the Beast, right, that scene where she's given this library and it's like the ceiling dancing around. There's a few of us that's like that we
really need that. But then I said, I can't carry all these books with me, because I like to shift from book to book. It's like, okay, I watch this, I read this chapter, and then I'm going to flip over to this other book. It's kind of like
Yeah.
you watch TV. You say, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm really mad about that. I'm going to start reading this. And then I get engulfed in that book and then say, okay, let me go back and see if anything happened new, as if
Yeah.
it's waiting for me anyway. But I started to getting digital books because I can carry them with me, because, you just can't go on the
Yeah,
airplane and you
that
have
sound like-
a
yes.
whole duffel bag of books. Like, madam, where are you going? To a book fair? No, these are all the books I'm going to read, but the
That's
flight
right.
is short.
We are the same. Oh my gosh.
Just in case.
My first Kindle from Amazon for exactly that reason. I was like, oh, all right. So now I can put like 10, 20, 30 books on this and just carry this.
Yeah.
And you know what I end up doing? I'd be like, but in case it runs out of batteries, I need at least like 3 backup books. And, so it didn't really help me at all.
And I remember when the Kindle came out, the paper, it might have been the Nook. No, I think it was the Nook.
Oh, the Nook.
The Nook. Remember the Nook? And I was on a plane and this gentleman seated next to me had it. And I kept, looking in the corner of my, I didn't want to be, true, like just lean over.
Yeah.
But I said, oh, that's interesting. What is that? He goes, oh, he was very, welcoming. He says, here, take this. And he's, oh, I said, wow. I said, how do you feel? And but it didn't look as clear. It was like that dull paper look. And I mean, it's improved so much over the time. And then, Kindle kind of took over and so on and so forth. But it was just exciting to see that. And it was like a new way. So you don't have this bulky book, or you leave your book. I mean, you could leave your device as well. Yeah. But you didn't have to worry about it getting ripped, your child getting to it, ripping.
And even if you lost the device right now in the cloud, so you can just get all your books.
I know. And I think that you should buy books after you read it. So, I'm going to buy this book and keep it there. And if you get an autograph, becomes even more valuable.
Yes.
And over time. But I always bought my children the classics, all the classics in the series, because you really should read those books at that. So what is one of your favorite experiences so far in your career? Because it's ginormous, your career.
I'm on call right now, honey, but you can come and sit with me.
Mia, Jacob, and Grandpa are outside in the back.
Awesome. Good job. Thank you. My favorite tech
it's a him. Hi.
Yeah, but the girl, it's my Miss Jocelyn.
Oh, okay.
But she's too shy. She was gonna come and sit, but she's too shy. Okay. But yeah, my favorite tech experience. So I had shared the other day that I was lucky enough to get on. Okay, I'll hold you. Okay, well, we don't want everybody to see your tummy. I will. Come. I'll hold you. Come on. All right, let's go. Oh my goodness. There she is. Hi.
What is the design on your outfit?
Everybody wants to see it. It's like be nice. Elephants.
Blue elephants.
That's right.
On parade.
Yes.
Elephants.
But yes, so one of the things I had talked about was NBC, and that was pretty awesome.
Okay.
And then Abbey Road, and that was pretty awesome. But then one thing I did want to share was one of my favorite experiences that keeps me going in tech, when sometimes being a woman in tech and a woman of color in tech is very hard.
Right.
And that experience was when I started speaking actually at events like this. And maybe Tiny, one day when you're older and you get your first job, you'd be like, I remember Miss Noel. She was so inspired. But that's basically what happened. I went and did a girls who code talk to a group, and I do them all the time. So I just keep on. And a woman who had heard me when she was 17 years old got her first job in tech. And she sent me a message on Instagram, and she said, I just wanted to say, and this is years later, like 3 years after I'd given the talk. And she said, I just want to say,
is this bright enough?
It's perfect. Thank you. I just want to say how grateful I am that you came to talk to us, because I never saw myself in tech. And now, after I heard you that day, I put myself on a path, and I did nothing, right? It's not like I mentored her or coached her. All I did was come and be an example that said, this is a path you can have. You can go after. And how important that is. I feel like, all of the listeners here, we all have a story that can inspire someone, and we don't think we can, because we're like, oh, little old me, like, what have I done? but just the fact that we exist and the fact that we're doing something that not everyone is doing, right? Like being brown and in technology.
I know.
It's not everyone makes it because it's hard. And oftentimes we feel alone. So the more of us that can stand up and be like, you're not alone, I'm over here, the better.
Like I told the money in Texas, I said, if you tell yourself that it's hard, it will be hard, because now you've defeated yourself. You told your brain, don't even bother trying because it's too hard. So don't say it's challenging. I'm gonna give it I'm gonna give it my best college try, and I'm gonna try it. And just like you riding a bicycle, you fall off, you get back up. You know, and my 30s is
or even like walking, right? Like there's not a single, 18 months.
I know.
Like, they just keep falling, and they know, like, and even they might cry.
That's true.
They might even be bruised.
That's true.
But they don't stop until they got it down. So
that's true. That's true. So you've built a few applications for Amazon Alexa. Woo! What a famous name there. Tell us about that experience and some of your favorite skills.
Oh gosh, yeah, it was so great. And the reason I like to talk about it is because when I joined the Amazon Alexa team, I was a very early member of that team. The product wasn't even launched yet, was about to launch. And no one knew what Alexa was. Like now I always ask them, like, anyone know Alexa? And everyone's like, oh, yes, I do. Or I have one. Someone who has one. Like it's almost like a household name. But when 6 years ago now, hardly anyone knew that it existed. And so when I joined that team, I didn't know anything. And it was a really good example to me. I've done this throughout my entire career, going into places of the unknown and figuring it out when I get there. But this was a very concrete example of artificial intelligence, conversational AI, natural language understanding, not Noelle. Like Noelle didn't know anything about that. But I chose to learn. And I had the support of a group that was like, let's figure it out together. Yeah. And we were all kind of like, we gave each other permission to like figure it out, to fail, to trip and fall and get bruised and dust ourselves off and be like, all right, I'm going to do this again. And I think that's really the key, is having a community of people who will support you in that journey. Not just, are you, can you persevere enough all by yourself? Yeah. But like, can you find, and it doesn't take many, it's literally like just us on this call or the listeners. Like it only takes a few people, but the fact that you don't feel alone will be enough for you to wake up the next day and go, all right, I'm gonna do that again. And you're willing to tell somebody about it. Yeah. And so that's really what happened with Alexa. Is I just started to build and keep building. Yeah. Some of my favorite skills, I've mentioned some, I won't re-mention them. Maybe that's what got all our followers yesterday.
The mindfulness, that 1 minute.
That's right. 1 minute mindfulness is a skill I created. And it's funny because the number one complaint with that skill was that, it's not long enough. I want it to be 5 minutes, one hour, 15 minutes. And what I ended up telling them is, again, as a technology executive and as a mom and as a caregiver, sometimes 1 minute is all I have, but it has been the best investment. Like that 1 minute can change how I react. And I had mentioned this the other day as well, being able to create distance between when something happens to you and you want to emotionally respond, and be able to like know enough about yourself to stop, take a breath, take 1 minute, and distance yourself from what just happened to how you're going to react to it. Give yourself enough space so that you can make a choice about how you react, instead of like flying off the handle or saying something you'll regret or doing something you'll regret. Yeah. Many of us use therapeutically, when something bad happens, we'll write an email with no intention of ever sending it, right? We're just like, that was not cool. You shouldn't have done that. Read it because we feel better having expressed that emotion in that moment. But we never want to hurt someone. We never want to put even if they did something that hurt us, we don't want to retaliate in that way, right? We want to be our highest self. Yeah. And we feel better. Like we might feel better for a second when we send mail, react emotionally, right. But almost immediately we're like, that's not me. That's not my heart. That's not how I feel. That was just like, I was just mad in the moment. So creating some distance, I think that mindfulness skill really helps you to just take a breath 1 minute at a time. And then the other thing that the other skill I want to encourage you to use is some fun game skills. So my son, I think I'd mentioned this to you all the other day. My son had built a skill called Unicorn Mythical Trivia. And here's the fun thing about it. He wasn't technical, right? He wasn't a coder. He just had fun content, and he didn't even have all that content. He went and Googled random unicorn, tips and tricks. And we actually found out that one of the queens of England had a unicorn horn at one point. Yeah, and it's one of the true or false questions within the quiz.
Unicorns are real, though.
Fun. Yes. Yes.
It's in the Bible. I found that for those who like to research and want to go through the literature of the book. It was amazing, but it was an animal. But not to get onto that story, but continue yours.
No. I mean,
thought I would put that out there.
But it's like those kind of things, right? Even if you're not a researcher, pick a topic that you think is fun and cool, which is what my son did, and then go research a bunch of tips and then turn them into questions. Part of the process of building a trivia app or a trivia skill for Alexa, part of the fun is that you have to figure out wrong answers too. So you have to go in and you have to go, okay, here's the right answer, but what are some fun wrong answers that maybe will trip someone up? Maybe they'll,
interesting. That's a different take on it. Absolutely.
Right? And it gets you thinking in a different way. So I think it's really fun. Really fun.
That's fun. Of course, out there somewhere in virtual land, there's a child that says, "See, mommy, I told you unicorns are real. Mrs. Melton said so."
That's right. Right.
And I was astonished too. But it was a real animal. But we're going to move on. But which story are you going to read for us today before I get to your final thoughts that you're going to leave our audience? Is it going to be the Get Up and Stand Up, or I Am Enough, or both? Whatever you want.
I Am Enough. I love that. It'll be a great way to end our, time together and this amazing 3-day event.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So
yes, it'll be up. I do love this book so much. So thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to read it. I absolutely love it. This girl reminds me of me when I was a kid. People would call me a lioness because my hair.
Wow.
And my mom back in the day had no clue about products or like curls. And she had different hair, right?
We didn't have that many products way back in the day. We had Dippity Doo. We had the Blue Magic, Sulfur 8, and my hair was a different, not coarse but long, and just we just didn't have a lot. We just put baby oil.
Yes,
Johnson's baby oil. That was good. That's the fixer upper for everything.
Amazing. So so I love this picture. When I saw it, I was like, this has to be it. This is me when I was little. And also because, just oftentimes the world just gives you lots of mixed signals. And so this book really resonated with me as something that I could read to myself. I could have it on my nightstand. Right. And I know it's a kid's book, but I love all of these words or words I would say to myself looking in the mirror. All right, so we'll go ahead and get started. I Am Enough by Grace Byers. I am enough. All right, let's do this. Like the sun, I'm here to shine. Like the voice, I'm here to sing. Like the bird, I'm here to fly and soar high over everything. Like the trees, I'm here to grow. Like the mountains, here to stand. Like time, I'm here to be and be everything I can. Like the champ, I'm here to fight. Like the heart, I'm here to love. Like a ladder, here to climb. And like air, to rise above. Like the wind, I'm here to push Like a rope, I'm here to pull. Like the rain, I'm here to pour and drip and fall until I'm full. Like the moon, I'm here to dream. Like a student, here to learn. Like water, I'm here to swell. And like fire, here to burn. Like a winner, I'm here to win. And if I don't, get up again. I know that I may sometimes cry, but even then, I'm here to try. I'm not meant to be like you, and you are not meant to be like me. Sometimes we get along, and sometimes we will disagree.
Sometimes if I get lucky,
I know that we don't look the
I
same.
want to
Our
kick.
skin, our eyes, our hair, our frame. But that does not dictate our worth. We both have places on the earth. And in the end, we are right here to live a life of love, not fear. To help the others when it's tough. And to say together, I am enough. We are enough. I love it. It's so amazing.
It's like the we are enough. Just like the ending of the other one, it says, I am worthy of love. We are
Yeah.
all worthy of love and to give and receive love, because that was going to make us have self-worth all together. Oh, uniquely Noel, I cannot tell you how wonderful that is, and that you're here again. So what is our final thoughts you want to give to everybody, to our Mighty on Text, to our audience out there who's been waiting for you? And we're going to all pick up a book and spread literacy and spread our read influence, but we're also going to dabble in that Alexa apps and create our own.
Wait, can I ask her a question?
Sure.
Hey, what's up?
Okay. Did you ever write any joke or rap apps for Alexa?
Yes, joke apps.
No. Which
you
one
can
was
even
it?
build a blueprint. There's like dad jokes, mom jokes, school jokes. You can, you got some jokes. Because have you asked Alexa for a joke?
Yes, but some of them wasn't too funny.
No. They
And
need
the
some
rap
help.
one. Oh my goodness, she does this rap. Alexa, somebody changed it a little while ago. It used to be this other rap, and then I think it kind of got a little hit.
Better. That's
yes,
right.
it got better.
Or there's actually a new language or a new programming language you can use called SSML that allows you to create nuances in how Alexa talks. So it's really cool.
I'll have to check that out. We're going to be coming to Alexa near you soon, guys. You're going to hear the Mighty on Text voicing out, talking about uniquely Noel. We're going to have all kinds of things.
Well, the last thing I guess I want to leave everyone with is just a very quick story about how the main way I learned to code. And the way I code was literally I went to a bookstore and I surveyed the books and I picked one out and I went through that, and it was a coding book, like Learn Java in 24 hours or whatever it ended up being. And then I went through, did all the exercises in the book. And here was something I learned is that 90% of people never finish the books they start. You all know what I'm talking about. I might be reading some people's mail right now. But 90 people don't finish. So we talked about this the other day about getting a leg up, being able to easily be better than everyone by doing one little thing. And one little thing you could do is just finish the books you read. If you finish the books you read, you are in the top 10% of people. It's amazing. So I actually finished those coding books. I did every exercise. And then I would go back every weekend. I got a new book. Every weekend I would go to the library and get books from the library and learn to code that's how I taught myself to code. I got a job at IBM having taught myself to code
Excellent.
at a bookstore.
You just
So you
said
can
learn
do
to be
this.
curious. Be curious about that last chapter in that book that
That's
you
right.
did
Just get
not
it done.
read. The $10,000 question. What is the last chapter of blah 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 book? Oh, my wife knows that she read the book. I didn't read the last chapter. I didn't read the last chapter.
It's
That's
hard.
how
A little easier with nonfiction and like coding books, but it's
I
hard.
think we have encouraged everybody, young and old, to pick up the book. We know where your secrets are lying, right under that night table there, hidden on the little side sack on your bed.
Yes.
Maybe you left it in the dining room, on the shelf there, in your children's room, somewhere there on a ledge. You left it, but go pick up that book. We want to spread literacy today and after this. Thank you again, guys, for being with us and just showing an overwhelming amount of love and support these past 2 days. And we were back again because you wanted us to for this encore performance. Hearts, guys. Don't forget to follow, like, join, subscribe, and share our social media accounts with all of you and our Mighty on Tax and our Read-InFluencers, and so that you're the first to know of any upcoming events and how you can continue to support our passions and our initiatives, because we believe that one thing that brings people of all cultures together is a great story and a great storyteller and a great Read-InFluencer, guys. We know that we have produced them today, modernize it. We're going to sanctify, we're going to send it out. We have the solution to all your problems. Pick up that book, spread literacy, spread your influence today and forever, guys. Thank you for being with us. Thank you, Uniquely Noel, for being with us again tonight, guys. Don't forget to view
what you all are doing. I support you. I will tell everyone I know. I'm like, did you see it? Have you seen it? Go see it.
Yeah.
So excited to share
Even
it.
those 3 days, we had so many unique things to say.
My gosh, I know. Oh, and you know what? Today, my son, who has Down syndrome, I told you, my oldest son, I hear this like sound that I recognize. I go into the living room and he's playing YouTube on the big, huge TV.
Okay.
It is your video.
And my dad was like,
yes, my dad saw it and was like,
okie dokie.
Are you famous? I was like, I'm on YouTube, Mom and Dad.
That's our little line. Oh, we'll get into the music. We listen to all types of music. K-pop, Indian music, Korean music. Oh my goodness. Asian music, country. We listen to everything. I introduced them to everything. I said, listen, you have to understand this in the world. So that's right. Okie dokie, yo. Yes, it is true.
It was awesome.
Thank you
so much.
All for being with us and reading for that third day. Thank you guys out there in virtual land for joining us again in this wonderful event and making history virtual Read-InFluence today. Bye, and we hope to see you again. Don't forget to follow and share. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone.